Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I don't know if you've ever stopped to think about it, but of all the creatures in the animal kingdom, only man, and man alone, will murder his mate simply because she no longer pleases him. True, certain of our friends in fur, fin, or feather will indulge in desertion or even divorce, but murder? For that, you must have the highest degree of culture and civilization. For that, you have to be human.
I must know what I can do, Doctor, to keep myself from killing my wife.
Why do you want to kill her?
I don't want to kill her.
Well, then, what makes you think you're going to?
I've been told I'm going to do it.
By whom?
I've been told unmistakably and in no uncertain terms. And that's what scares me.
But who told you?
Pluto.
Who's Pluto?
A cat.
A cat told you?
Yes. My wife's cat.
Our mystery drama, The Black Cat, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dann and stars Norman Rose. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Consider the act of murder. Popular opinion has it the majority of killers are ruthless, cold-blooded, devoid of pity. But the facts tell a different tale. Statistics reveal most murderers are neither brutal nor savage. The record shows you don't have to be a devil or a demon or even a criminal. Experience teaches a killer could be any one of us. Given the time, the place, the provocation, it could be you. It could be I. And it could even be Philip Sterling.
Sylvia says you want to see me, Mr. Fenris.
That's right, Phil.
Well?
I have a simple statement to make. A brief 13-word announcement.
I had no idea you measured out your words.
They should add up to 13, because it happens to be an unlucky statement as far as you're concerned.
Suppose you end the suspense, Mr. Fenris. What is this historic pronouncement,
If you marry my daughter, I will cut her off without a cent.
Yes, it does add up to 13 words.
And you'd better believe him.
Well, then I have no choice. I'll break the engagement. I certainly can't marry Sylvia if she has no money.
Why, you unprincipled scoundrel.
Mr. Fenris, while I may be a scoundrel, I do have principles.
You admit you want to marry Sylvia for her money?
What other reason could I possibly have?
Well, of all the
Don't sputter at me, Mr. Fenris. After all, it's your fault.
What, my fault?
Without question. Had you been a better father, more loving, more attentive, you would have raised a more attractive daughter.
Well, I'll have you thrown out of here.
Consider Sylvia calmly, objectively. She's immature. She's naive. She's hopelessly romantic. She's careless. That's my word. Others would say sloppy about her weight, about her appearance. It's your fault. Your fault, all of it.
I'll have you know I gave my daughter everything.
You gave her only what money could buy. And in addition to everything else, she has that damn black cat, that Pluto, and she pretends she can talk with it.
But she's kind. She's gentle.
Of course. Otherwise, she'd be unbearable.
Why am I even discussing this? Get out of here.
Face the facts. You're 75 years old.
70.
How much longer can you live? 10, 15 years? With Sylvia, she'll still be under 40. And the money, all of it hers, to squander as she sees fit. And you know she'll be the natural target of every sharp-shooting fortune hunter.
I told you to get out.
You say that one more time, and I will. Oh, be practical, Mr. Fenris. I'm the best hope you've got. Because all I want to do with her money, your money, is enjoy it. I'm not burning to build empires. I only want to live comfortably. And on your money, I can. And, well, I even happen to like Sylvia. Just enough to put up with her.
I think you must be the devil himself.
Well, better the devil you know than the devil you might get. Oh, it's ironic, isn't it? 2 minutes ago, you were scared stiff I'd marry Sylvia. Now you're absolutely petrified I won't.
Daddy? Oh, please. Pluto and I simply couldn't wait any longer. Daddy, you do approve of Phil. You do, don't you?
Sylvia, I have a 4-word statement to make. Bless you, my children.
Oh, hey. Who set that thing?
Good morning, Phil, darling. I did.
You did? What for?
We have to be up and about.
Oh, at 5:45 in the morning?
Oh, I intend to make your breakfast.
I never ate breakfast.
Oh, well, you should. You should. Gets the day off to a glorious start.
Well, it's not as if I'll be swinging a pick and shovel.
Well, maybe you should. Oh, Pluto's up. Would you get out of bed, Phil, darling, and let him in?
Yes, dear.
Oh, isn't he just the sweetest thing in the world?
Yeah, he sure is.
Now, what were we talking about?
Picks and shovels and hearty breakfasts. A combination guaranteed to make me ill.
Phil, you don't know a thing about the construction business.
I never claimed I did. I was honest with your father.
But then why did you accept a job with a plush office and a secretary?
Because I honestly intend to learn the business.
Then that's why you should walk into Daddy's office and say, Sir, the only way to learn this business is from the ground up.
Well,
Well, you know I'm right. And besides, Pluto thinks it's a splendid idea.
Pluto thinks?
Oh, of course he does, don't you, Pluto? Matter of fact, Pluto and I discussed it last night.
Sylvia.
Why can't you believe Pluto and I talk together?
Because to talk means to exchange words, and Pluto cannot.
No, dear. To talk together means to exchange thoughts. And that's what we do, Pluto and I.
How?
Well, you look Pluto in the eye, and then you beam your thoughts at him, and he just beams his thoughts back at you. That's talking, that's communicating, isn't it?
Well...
I looked into Pluto's eyes, and he looked into mine, and he just beamed that idea about the way you could learn Dad's business right into my head. So, don't you see? You have Pluto to thank for it.
Yeah. Thanks, Pluto. All my life, I hated work. Put in an August day on a road-building crew, under a relentless sun that beats down. The heat shimmers off that concrete at about 115 degrees, and you will know what punishment is.
Phil, darling, where does it hurt?
Everywhere.
Well, a little gentle massage will ease those aches.
No, nothing. Nothing will ever relieve these pains.
Pluto says you'll get used to it.
Yeah, well, you just tell Pluto for me that I will never get used to
But
it.
you will. Let Pluto tell you himself. Will you tell him, Pluto, dear?
Oh, come on, Sylvia.
You say that you won't get used to that kind of work. You just beam that thought into Pluto's eyes.
Sylvia, my back hurts. I'm in no
Pluto
mood
will
for...
give you inspiration and courage. You just look into Pluto's eyes. Come on, Pluto. Yep, up on the bed, jump. That's it. Now, look into Phil's eyes. Don't you feel Pluto's thoughts coming into your mind?
I don't know what color a cat's eye is supposed to be. But suddenly I was staring into a kaleidoscope of brilliant hues. Flaming reds, freezing greens, burning yellows, icy blues, all of them shifting, twisting, trying to form into shapes. And there was this terribly taut feeling of tension, as if the entire kaleidoscope were trying to dissolve into a scene. And finally, the way a bubble bursts, all the colors blended into that one icy blue. That icy blue became two of the coldest, frostiest eyes I'd ever seen in my life. the eyes of a sharp-faced man in a black robe, and he was talking to me.
Philip Frederick Sterling, have you anything to say before the sentence of this court is passed upon you?
I didn't do it. I swear I didn't. I couldn't kill anyone. I'm not made that way. You must believe me. I'm not a killer.
You shall be in prison at the state penitentiary
No, you can't do it. I'm innocent.
until the 3rd day of April.
No,
At
no,
which time
no!
you shall be...
What did you do? What did you do to Pluto?
Huh? I didn't do anything to Pluto.
He saw something in your eyes.
Oh, what could he have seen?
The future.
The future?
Yes. He saw the future and it frightened him. Oh, he's terrified. And so are you.
Me? What are you talking about? I'm not...
Why are you shaking all over?
Who's...
You are. Phil. What did you see in Pluto's eyes?
Nothing.
But Phil...
I said I saw nothing. I could say that to her, Doctor, but not to myself. Because I had seen something. A courtroom, a judge, a jury, a defendant. And, of course, that defendant was me.
Go on, Mr. Sterling.
I wasn't imagining this, Doctor. I looked into the eyes of that cat, and I saw...
Yes, you saw that you were being convicted of murder and sentenced by a judge.
You don't think I'm crazy?
Crazy has many connotations. Whether or not you're crazy, as you put it, is irrelevant here.
But why should I see such a scene?
I think you know why.
Oh, I don't.
I say you do.
Please, Doctor, tell me why.
It's because you want to kill your wife.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's true.
Well, why would I want to kill my wife?
Why did you marry her?
For her money.
So far, you haven't been able to spend 1 cent of her money.
Well, I'm willing to wait.
And work on a road gang?
What do you suggest?
If I were you, I would leave her.
Why?
You made a bad bargain. You thought you'd fall in soft. It isn't happening. You're beginning to resent her. Already the thought of murder is rattling around in your subconscious.
Now, look, the old man is worth millions. She gets all of it. Oh, no, I can't walk out on that.
Well, then reconcile yourself to the road gang.
I have to, I will.
Oh, darling, reach down and pat Pluto's head.
Ah.
He's forgiven you.
For what?
For scaring him the other day.
Oh, poor Pluto. Come here, boy.
Now you see how he likes you?
Well, I like him, too. We're pals, aren't we, Pluto?
Well, do you think you could talk to each other again?
Oh, sure. How are things, Pluto, baby?
No, I mean really talk. Look into his eyes.
Oh, that.
Look into them, Phil. Maybe Pluto has something to tell you.
Well, okay.
Talk to Phil, Pluto. Talk to him.
Once again, I looked into Pluto's eyes. Deep into his eyes. Once again, the colors surged and swirled. Reds, greens, blues, yellows. Boiling, burning. And suddenly, all the roiling motion stopped. As if it were frozen. And the icy blue predominated. And once again, I was staring into those 2 icy blue eyes. The eyes that belonged to the sharp-faced man in the jet-black robe.
In all my years on the bench, I have never encountered murder so foul.
I didn't do it.
I must warn the prisoner. If he insists on interrupting...
I didn't do it.
The fiendishness of this act...
I couldn't do it.
Only a month...
No!
As the poet said, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. He might have added, I am the ruler of my mind. It's an interesting project Phil Sterling has set up for himself. Talk out the bad, talk in the good. Drive murder out of his brain and coax love into his heart. If such a thing can be done, it will happen when I return shortly with Act Two.
The WBBM News Time, 10:51.
If, as they say, you can see the entire universe in a single drop of water, why is it unreasonable to suppose that Philip Sterling can see the future in the eyes of a cat? Phil is not only convinced he can see his future, he is also certain he can change it. For the better, naturally.
Sylvia, call Pluto in here.
Oh, darling, he's very frightened.
Call him in.
Well, I'm not sure that I should.
I need him.
You what?
Sylvia, you're the one who insisted on having the word obey in the marriage ceremony. Call Pluto in here.
Pluto. Pluto. It's all right, baby.
Yes. Here, Pluto.
All right, up on Phil's lap. All right. Up. That's it.
Yes. I want to look into his eyes.
Oh, I don't think it's wise.
Well, I have my reasons.
All right. Pluto, Phil wants to talk to you. Pluto, talk to Phil.
Once again, I looked into Pluto's eyes, and I saw nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. What do you say to that, Dr. Myers? Murder? If it was ever in there, I drove it out of my mind. I drove all thoughts of murder out of my mind.
Look, Pluto's smiling.
Of course.
And you. You're smiling, too.
I'm smiling because I love you.
Oh, Phil, what's got into you lately?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Keep to your left. Keep to your left. Keep to your left. Come on. There's plenty of room. Come on, keep moving.
Oh, my God, it can't be, but it is. Gwen, look.
It's Phil.
Phil, baby, is this for real?
Phil, darling.
Oh, wait till the gang hears about this.
Oh, hi, Gwenny. Bruce.
Phil,
Phil, darling, I never knew you had such muscle.
What happened, Phil? Does your father-in-law lose all his money?
Look, you're holding up traffic.
Is this what marriage does to a man?
I'll explain it some other time. Get moving. Get moving, or I'll catch it from my foreman.
Everything go all right today?
Oh, sure.
You haven't said a word all during dinner.
Well, I'm just tired.
Well, I know you're not used to hard work, but you'll see. You'll find it so rewarding.
Oh, sure.
I have a surprise for you. Want you to ask me what it is?
Okay.
It's Dad's wedding gift. You know what he wants to give us? A house.
A house?
A house of our very own. He wants to give us the house on Rogers Cove.
The big one?
Yep, the big one with the boat landing, the tennis court.
Well, that is a gift.
Well, I turned it down.
You what?
I turned it down.
But, Sylvia, why?
Because we can't afford it.
We can't afford it.
Not on your salary. You don't know how hard I had to work to restrain my father.
From doing what?
Well, he wants to give us everything right away. Now, think of that, what it would do to you. It would absolutely rob you of your initiative.
Sylvia, we shouldn't insult your father by,
All in good time, darling. Our first home should be a modest ranch house, or would you prefer a split level? In a development with other young couples like ourselves.
But, darling...
Now, Phil, I had a long talk about it with Pluto.
With Pluto?
He'll show you the wisdom of it. Pluto, go to Phil.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Sylvia. Sylvia, I must tell you, I love you.
Of course you do.
I love you. My only desire is to protect you, to keep you from harm.
Now, Pluto. Phil wants to talk with you.
Once again, I looked into those eyes. Once again, the whirl of almost blinding colors. But this time, something was different. In the struggle among the blues, the yellows, the greens, and the reds, the bright crimson reds, they were winning out. Everything was red. Flowing red. Blood red. Red blood on a pale white face. Blood on Sylvia's face.
Phil, please. Don't hit me. Oh, Phil, please.
I told you. I warned you.
Phil, no.
You ruined my life. All my friends laugh at me.
I love you, Phil. Oh, please don't hit me again.
Get up. I'm not through.
Oh.
Get up. Sylvia.
Phil, honestly, you have the most violent conversations with Pluto. Oh, no, Pluto. Everything's all right. Phil, what were you and Pluto talking about?
Nothing at all.
Where are you going?
Out.
Oh, I'll come with you.
No.
Oh.
Sylvia, can't you understand? Sometimes a man just wants to be by himself, that's all.
Of course, darling, I understand. We understand, don't we, Pluto? Yes.
You want to go back to the party?
Mm-hmm. Maybe later. It's much cozier here.
I must say, absence does make the heart grow fonder.
Oh, I missed you, Gwenny.
Oh, Phil, how do you stand it?
Oh, I have fantastic powers of endurance. That is, I hope I do.
You know, what with her talking to that cat and everything else, maybe you could get her committed to, you know, an asylum. After all, she is crazy.
Oh, no. Only poor people are crazy. Rich people are eccentric.
Phil, I'm worried about you.
Sure, don't be. I will be fabulously wealthy one day.
Is that all there is to it?
That's all there ever was for me.
I don't like what it's doing to you.
Oh, come on, Gwen. What's it doing to me?
Well, you're not the same. You were always so happy-go-lucky.
Well, that might have been just a pose.
No, there's something new inside of you.
Really? What?
A kind of violence.
Violence? I'm allergic to violence.
You think so?
You know what I always say. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Violence? Why, I can't even...
Don't protest so much, Phil. It shows.
How?
When we ran into you on the road, Bruce and I, we started to kid you. You turned livid.
I don't remember.
You were trembling with rage.
That's your imagination.
You tried to hide it.
Well, maybe you're right. There are times when I could just...
When you could just what?
Kill her. You know, it scares me. I never felt that way before. About anybody. If I stay with her, I know that I'll kill her. And then... Then, what good is the money?
Oh, that's delicious.
Have another helping, Dad.
You know, Phil, she used to break the heart of every chef I'd hire. These fellas all had international reputations, but she'd just walk into the kitchen and whip up a little dish and put them all to shame.
Daddy, the preparation of food is a personal, intimate thing. We shouldn't hire strangers to do it. Don't you agree, Phil?
I've never seen Phil so quiet.
That's right. Darling, both you and Pluto haven't said a word all evening.
Well, I don't know about Pluto, but I I am preparing a statement.
Oh, that sounds serious.
It's a very important statement.
Now, that's a coincidence. I, too, have a statement. May I?
Of course.
Phil, you've absolutely exceeded all my expectations. You've been an excellent husband to Sylvia. You've been conscientious on the job. And so, therefore, I have a 7-word statement. Odd that it should add up to 7 because it's a lucky statement, and, well, here it is. I have included you in my will.
Oh, Daddy. Oh, that's wonderful. Isn't it wonderful, Pluto?
I know now, Phil, that you'll succeed in the business. One day, they'll all be yours.
Oh, Phil, did you hear that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I heard it.
Well, now that Daddy has made his statement, what was yours?
What was mine? I was ready to say 4 simple words. I want a divorce. However, at that moment, it seemed like a stupid thing to do. I happened to glance at Pluto. He was looking up at me. His eyes were wide, and I could see the colors swirling again. But this time, the yellows, the bright flaming yellows, overwhelmed the others. And then, the yellow turned softer. It began to gleam like gold, solid gold. Oh, what a fool I would be to throw away a chance to own one of the largest construction companies in America. I looked at Sylvia. I would simply have to love her. That's all. Love her so earnestly, so devotedly that I wouldn't have the inclination to kill her. The problem was solved.
Aren't you going to make your statement, Phil?
Well, as it turns out, I really don't have one.
You're playing a dangerous game. All your instincts tell you to get out. But suddenly, the stakes are raised to dizzying heights. What do you do? Phil Sterling has decided to stand pat. But how strong is his hand? Losers and winners in this game of life and death will be determined when I return shortly with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago News Radio 78.
Why should love be a random, subjective thing, completely beyond our conscious control? Why can't we say, she is the logical person for me to love? Phil Sterling is determined to love his wife, because if he can't, he knows he will have to kill her.
Oh, darling, let's quit for the night.
Well, I can mix a batch of cement and start on the wall if you want me to.
You work hard all day. Then you come home at night, and I make you work in the basement.
Oh, well, I don't mind.
Come on upstairs, wash up.
No, I'd just as soon keep working and finish this.
Oh, but not tonight, Phil. I asked the Conways over for coffee.
The Conways?
Well, they really are such lovely people.
Well, he's a bore.
Phil?
And she's such an idiot.
Phil, you have to be friendly with your neighbors.
Why?
Oh, darling, don't lose touch with ordinary people.
Gwen, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Well, that's what friends are for.
I just have nobody else to talk to. On the job, at home, the neighbors. I think I'm about ready to flip.
Well, Phil, you could always leave.
I can't. You know, you hear people say, I wouldn't do this or that for $1 million. But it's academic. Nobody ever offered them the $1 million. With me. Gwen, with me, the money is there.
It's not quite there.
It's mine. I just have to wait it out. I am in the will. I am in it for 50%. Gwen, you know how much that is?
Mm-hmm.
Besides, he's very old. How much longer can he live?
Oh, Phil, you always were a genius when it came to figuring things.
I wish I knew how to figure this.
Well, you know you can't stay, and you don't have the nerve to leave.
That isn't true.
Been getting any readings from Pluto lately?
Cut it out, Gwen.
I bet you're afraid to look.
Phil, you haven't eaten a thing.
I'm not hungry.
Oh, darling, something's troubling you. Talk to Pluto. You'll feel better.
I don't want to talk to Pluto.
Oh, he's such a comfort. Talk to Phil, Pluto. Yes.
Sylvia, I love you.
Well, I love you, and Pluto loves you, too. Tell him you love him, Pluto. Well, I know something will cheer you up. Daddy's got the results from his physical today, and he's in the best shape of his life.
He is?
And you deserve all the credit. Because he doesn't have to worry about me anymore. The doctor said Daddy will probably live forever.
Oh, that's great.
Phil, I can tell you're not feeling...
I'm fine.
You're out of sorts. Come on, let Pluto comfort you.
Keep that cat away from me.
Pluto is not that cat. Meow! Oh, now you see, you've hurt his feelings.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Tell him you're sorry. Phil wants to apologize, Pluto. Tell him you forgive him.
Once again, I was staring into Pluto's eyes. And into that boiling maelstrom of colors. All I could see now was brown. And it was the brown of the cement in the basement. And on this brown cement was a sharp and pointed mason's trowel. And suddenly, the trowel was in my hand.
No, you'll kill Pluto!
That's right.
You're mad!
Get out of my way!
Oh, no!
He's driving me crazy. I have to kill him.
Phil, what's wrong? You're trembling.
It's nothing.
It can't be nothing.
I'm going out.
Again? Where?
For a walk.
Where do you always go on these walks?
Nowhere. I just walk. Now stop nagging.
I don't know what I would do without you, Gwen.
Good old Gwen. Comfy as a pair of old shoes. Ready as a candlestick. Reliable, dependable. There when you need me.
Well, it's true.
Well, congratulate me. I'm getting married.
What? Married? Why?
Why? Has it occurred to you I might want a life of my own? Bruce asked me to marry him.
Oh, Bruce.
He may not be much, but he's all mine. And at least he asked me.
Gwen, listen. In just a couple of years, I'll really be rich.
And I hope you'll be very happy.
I'll make it up to you.
As they say in the movies, I guess this is goodbye.
But, Gwen, if I can't see you...
No, Philip. All or nothing. That's what I want. And to be fair, it's what Sylvia wants. Choose between us. Who gets all and who gets nothing.
Well, maybe I would miss Gwen. But not for long. Gwen comes back. She always comes back. My problem, Sylvia. Oh, I have to calm down. Keep your temper. Concentrate on loving Sylvia. Loving Sylvia.
Phil.
Yes, dear.
Pluto and I have a question to ask you.
Oh, what is it?
Who is Gwen?
What did you say?
I think you heard me. He heard me, didn't he, Pluto?
Meow.
Who is Gwen?
Well, Gwen is a girl I used to know.
When did you last see her?
Now, look, what is
I'd
this?
like an answer.
Sylvia, who told you about Gwen?
Who do you think? Pluto.
What does Pluto know?
Everything. You're in love with her, aren't you?
No.
Don't lie to me.
I am telling you the truth.
You can lie to me, but you can't lie to Pluto.
Sylvia! Sylvia, now listen to me. I am telling you the truth. I love you.
Oh, tell that to Pluto. I dare you to tell that to Pluto.
Pluto, that mangy cat. Hey, where are you going?
home.
You're home now.
No, I'm going home to my father. I never want to see you again.
That damn cat, I'll kill him.
No, Phil. Please, don't. Run, Pluto. Run.
Oh, that stupid cat. Look, he ran down to the basement, Sylvia. He can't get away now. I've got you cornered, you stupid cat.
Dodge him. Pluto, dodge him.
You can't get away. You won't get away.
Phil, you're mad. Put down that trowel.
Stand still. Stand still, you stupid beast. You've got nowhere to go.
Here, Pluto. Here, come to me. Come, I'll protect you.
Sylvia, let go of that cat. You give me Pluto.
No!
I won't have any peace. I won't have any sanity until I kill him.
No, Phil, no!
Let go of him.
No!
Sylvia. No. Sylvia! They were both dead. I had killed them both. My temper had gotten the best of me. I had to think fast. Think. First, I built a wall of cinder blocks and cement. I had everything there to do it. And then I placed her and Pluto behind it. And finally, I painted the wall and the entire basement. So there were no signs of fresh construction. I washed away every bloodstain from the floor and from my hands, from my clothes. The place was absolutely spotless. And then I assumed a new role, and I played it to perfection. The worried husband.
What could have happened to her, Phil?
I don't know. Oh, I'm scared. How could she just disappear?
You two weren't quarreling, were you?
What, Sylvia and I?
No, I know. The lovebirds.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm scared of. She has all kinds of, weird ideas. And, what with that cat? Who knows? Maybe she just wandered off.
Well, we'll find her. You have to be brave, son.
Oh, I just couldn't get along without her, Dad. My only worry was the will, but I was still in it. So that worry was unnecessary. And actually, I was in it bigger and better than before. Maybe I should have killed her sooner. Yes?
Mr. Sterling?
I'm Mr. Sterling.
We're police officers.
Oh?
May we come in? I'm Lieutenant Haley. Sergeant Miller.
Yes.
Detective Krause.
What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Your wife has been reported missing.
Yes, that's right.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
My father-in-law and I wrote out a deposition. He's Frank J. Fenris, a very influential man.
So I've heard. Your wife disappeared last Tuesday night.
Oh, yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Conway, your next-door neighbors, report they heard sounds of arguing.
Did they?
Mrs. Conway characterized it as a fight.
Mrs. Conway is a fool.
But did you have a fight with your wife?
Certainly. Don't you ever fight with your wife, Lieutenant?
Do you have any idea where your wife might be now?
Lieutenant, do you suspect me of doing away with Sylvia?
No, sir.
I don't like the tone of your voice. And I don't like the look on your face either.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's that cynical, know-it-all cop look. Yes. You figure that I killed her.
Mr. Sterling, I'm sorry if we seem to irritate you, but our job requires that we ask questions.
So what did I do, Lieutenant? Kill her and hide her body?
Nobody said that, sir.
Then why are you here?
To search the house.
Now, I know my rights. For that, you need a warrant.
We have a warrant.
Oh. Well, go ahead.
Jim, Otto, look around.
Well, Lieutenant, any corpses in the closets?
Will you show us to the basement?
The basement?
Yes. You have one?
Well, of course we do. Just follow me.
Jim? Anything? Otto? Mr. Sterling, I'm sorry we put you to so much trouble. Something the matter, Mr. Sterling? Mr. Sterling?
Huh? No, I'm all right.
Are you ill? You look so pale. I know this must be a difficult time for you, Mr. Sterling.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Well, we're through here. Are you sure you're all right?
Oh, yes. I'm just fine.
Well, goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
You know, it's funny. I hear a cat. He must be right in this room, but I don't see him.
A cat? A cat? What cat?
You mean you don't hear that cat? Why, he's behind that wall. He has to be behind that wall.
Pluto. Oh, no. It can't be Pluto. He's dead.
Otto, Jim, get some tools. We're going to break down that wall.
He's dead. I killed him. Why isn't he dead?
Why? The answer is simple, and it's also the moral of our story, which is a man is ill-advised to fool with a cat. Why? Because a man only has one life, while a cat has 9. And at this point in time, Philip Frederick Sterling has no lives at all, while Pluto still has 8. I'll be back shortly. What we're doing on this show is bringing back some of the best of the good old days. And a good old expression used to be, the cat's meow. Mom and Dad used it all the time, even though they didn't exactly know what it meant. Well, after this tale, we know. Our cast included Norman Rose, Marian Seldes, Robert Dryden, Joe DeSantis, and Evie Juster. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
3 times on different expeditions we have excavated with no success. This time we have managed to isolate the mastaba itself, in spite of every kind of miserable luck. Cave-ins, men injured, crews deserting. But at last, within the next few days, I'm convinced the entrance will be found.
Oh, how exciting, how wonderful for you. And Hasiba, I hope she isn't a disappointment. Was she really so beautiful, do you think?
Incredibly. Her face shamed the shining sun, and the day was lit up by the light of her countenance.
You know, you sound as though you'd actually seen her.
I have.
You have?
Oh, yes, my dear. For every description fits you.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the world of terrifying imagination, to the fear you can hear. For the 4 centuries before Christ, a remarkable combination of priests and monarchs established one of the most astonishing cultures in the world. The rulers were the pharaohs of Egypt, and they left an enduring series of monuments behind them. The Sphinx, the pyramids, the temples of Karnak and Luxor, and, most strange of all, their mummified remains, embalmed by a process lost to modern science. This is the story of one such mummy, and the eternal curse she left to be visited on any violator of her tomb.
What happened, John?
The door to the tomb swung shut.
Well, can we open it?
No. The counterweights locked it somehow.
Hold up the torch.
Why?
There's an inscription inside the door. What does it say?
Well, it would take time to decipher it.
Don't worry. I can guess. Who breaks this seal forever seals his doom. He will walk no more among the living, or find his way among the dead.
Our mystery drama, The Pharaoh's Curse, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Kim Hunter. It is sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act 1. "1924, 50 years ago, belongs to another world. Certainly in the Middle East, almost midway through the period of the great archaeological excavations that make Egypt a mecca for tourists from all over the world. And in that era, no singer and entertainer reigned more supreme than Diane Elliott, the toast of 2 continents already, and now in the process of conquering a 3rd, with an engagement at Shepheard's, world-famous hotel in Cairo.
You will sing again, Miss Elliott?
No, really. 5 encores is enough.
Never enough with you.
Asking for anyone is already too much.
Of course, you must be tired.
I know, but I don't want the audience to be. If you'll excuse me.
Would you excuse me first? There is an old friend of mine here tonight who would very much like to meet you. Could I presume to ask if you would join him as he asked for a drink at his table?
Who is this friend of yours?
Sir Geoffrey Lanscombe.
The famous archaeologist? He's still alive? I mean, well, he must
He's quite old, but most active.
Would you ask him to give me 10 minutes and then come back to my dressing room? Just a moment. Come in.
Miss Elliott.
Sir Geoffrey?
Guilty as charged.
Oh, dear. Did I sound forbidding or something?
No, not at all. It's just that I feel I'm intruding.
Oh, not at all. I hope you'll excuse me, though. I've started changing because tonight's the end of my engagement here, and I have to start packing.
Well, then you'll be leaving Cairo.
Well, no, not for a few days. I hope at least a week. I've wangled a little gap between engagements because I want to do some sightseeing.
Good, excellent. That makes it so much easier for me to ask what I want to ask. It's amazing.
What?
You, my dear. With your robe pulled tightly around you and your hair swept back so severely from your face. Yes. Absolutely amazing. Let me tell you why I'm here. Have you ever heard of the Princess Hasiba?
No.
Well, it's not too surprising. She was, you understand, a little before your time. approximately 4,000 years. Hasiba, the gazelle-footed trailer of perfumed musk. Hasiba, the doe-eyed, radiant perfection of the three worlds.
I thought you were an archaeologist, not a poet.
Well, not I, my dear. That's Thotmes the Fifth, her husband, the Pharaoh. And he was right. She was, until then at least, the most exquisite woman who ever lived. And when she died, at 19, the Pharaoh was so crazed with grief that he stripped himself of all his wealth and turned it into jewels with which he filled her burial casket to the brim. She was buried with all the honors of a Pharaoh, and the door to her mastaba sealed forever with an undying curse.
The mastaba?
The burial chamber.
And the curse?
This chamber holds the jewels of my kingdom. Jewels beyond number and one beyond all price. Who breaks this seal forever seals his doom. He will walk no more among the living nor find his way among the dead.
You almost make me believe that.
Well, I almost believe it myself. Perhaps it's why I've taken the liberty of coming to you.
I don't understand.
Oh, why should you? Let me explain. 15 years ago, I discovered the small pyramid that covers the burial chamber. 3 times, on different expeditions, we have excavated with no success. This time, we have managed to isolate the mastaba itself, in spite of every kind of miserable luck. Cave-ins, men injured, crews deserting. But at last, within the next few days, I'm convinced the entrance will be found.
Oh, how exciting, how wonderful for you. And Hasiba, I hope she isn't a disappointment. Was she really so beautiful, do you think?
Incredibly. Her face shamed the shining sun, and the day was lit up by the light of her countenance.
You know, you sound as though you'd actually seen her.
I have.
You have?
Oh, yes, my dear. For every description fits you.
Well, Sir Geoffrey, I'll have to admit that's about the prettiest compliment I've ever been paid.
And the truth. Now, look.
What is it?
An ivory miniature of Hasiba, hand-carved.
How beautiful. Exquisite.
Isn't it? So perhaps now you can see, Miss Elliot, why I can easily believe in reincarnation. It's why I asked to meet you. I've devoted the best part of my life to unearthing this tomb. And I've come to be afraid of a curse and to believe profoundly in the power of good omens and luck. I need that luck, but I think I found it. I know you are my luck.
Well, how can I help you?
Come as my guest to the diggings for a few days. Open the chamber for me. I think your touch will ensure success.
Out of so many, that's the greatest compliment of all. How can I refuse? Just a moment. Oh, driver, good. Come in. All I'm taking are these 2 bags, and you are not the driver I engaged this morning.
No, Miss Elliot.
Then why?
Allow me my credentials. Inspector Hasid of the Cairo Police.
Police?
If you doubt me, call Ahmed. He will vouch for me. Now, may I ask a few questions?
Well, of course.
You had never met Sir Geoffrey Lonscombe before the night before last.
Oh, that's correct.
But you are planning to visit the diggings?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because he invited me to.
Just as a guest?
Of course.
For a few days, correct?
Well, now, let's not make anything out of that, Inspector. He is about to open the tomb of some ancient Egyptian queen, and I am intrigued. I've never had the opportunity to meet a 4,000-year-old princess who's supposed to look like me. Now, what's wrong with that, and why should it interest the police?
This thing is difficult. First of all, let me warn you that there may be possible danger in your visit to the diggings.
What danger?
I do not know exactly. But if you are to go, will you let me go with you as your driver, incognito?
Why?
Partially to protect you.
And partially what else?
That is what I want to find out. Do you have any knowledge of firearms, Miss Elliot?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. I used to do a lot of hunting with my father.
And small arms?
We had a pistol range. I'm a pretty good shot.
Well, could you handle this if you had to? For protection only, I mean.
Rebly, isn't it? 6-clip?
It would fit a woman's handbag.
Okay, but I'm not interested in running around playing with guns.
Last night, at the diggings, there was a fatal accident.
Not Sir Geoffrey.
No. One of the new digging crew. Now, for everyone's safety, I need an opportunity to investigate that accident quietly, without publicity. You could offer me that chance.
And put my own neck on the line?
No. There's little risk for you. But, of course, I cannot tell you there is absolutely none.
Well, what is it you think's going on out there?
I am not sure. 4,000 years ago, if we are to believe the papyri, the written records, Thutmose buried with his wife uncounted millions of dollars in jewels.
But neither she nor the jewels have been exhumed yet.
We are told. And yet, a man is dead.
Where was this man found?
Near one of the many statues that ring the pyramid, far from the tomb itself.
Well, so what has that to do with... murdered?
Not by any human agency, apparently. The man was crushed, as if broken in the arms of something beyond the natural power of things. However, the police are less interested in the man himself than what was clutched in his hand.
What?
I've been selected to investigate this matter quietly and anonymously. Will you let me go with you?
You're kind of daring me, aren't you?
Pardon?
You don't want me to refuse.
I don't think you are in any real danger, Miss Elliot. And I need a cover.
Okay. Let's go adventure. Just tell me one thing first. What is there for the police to investigate? What was it the man had clutched in his hand?
A diamond of great beauty and great price.
What kind of diamond?
Now, there's just the whole point, Miss Elliot. A very special kind. For no diamond has been cut like this in the last 4,000 years.
A tomb sealed fast for 4,000 years, where a princess lies in a coffin filled to the brim with precious stones of incalculable value. Could this diamond be from a tomb as yet uncovered, or was it some random discovery? And if it were, what inhuman agency, with a power beyond all human scope, mangled and destroyed the unfortunate man who found the strangely cut diamond? I'll return in a few moments with Act 2. Southwest from Cairo, riding across the hot white desert sands in the jeep driven by Inspector Hasid, a tulle scarf bound across her mouth and nose against the stinging sand, Diana Elliott wonders what whim drove her to this strange adventure. And then, to herself, honestly, she admits what it is. She is tired of the never-relaxing discipline of her life, the touring, the center of applause, the sense of being trapped, Suddenly she is a free soul, off on an uncharted adventure, ready for anything that comes her way, as long as it is new and different.
Miss Elliott.
Oh, you know me?
Yes, and you more than live up to what I've heard. Can I give you a hand down?
Oh, thank you. That's more than a hand. Both.
Brother, the old boy was right.
About what?
You. And our 4,000-year-old lady.
Perhaps. But I'm not 4,000 years old yet. And I can stand by myself, Mr.
Irving, John Irving. I'm Sir Jeff's assistant. He asked me to look out for you.
Oh, great. Could we start by having you let go of my waist so I can breathe?
I'm sorry.
Where's Sir Geoffrey?
He had to go into Cairo with the English mail and in connection with an accident we had here.
Oh, yes, I know about that.
You do?
Yes, I read about it in the Cairo newspaper.
Oh, well, let's get your bags and get you settled.
Do not worry, Sahib. I will take care of them.
Oh, fine, driver. Miss Elliott's go into the big tent with the canopy. You can bunk down with the crew over there. Any one of the 3 tents near the diggings.
Very good, Sahib.
You want to go freshen up, Miss Elliott?
Oh, no. Everything is too new and strange and exciting. I want to explore.
Okay. You want to walk over and have a closer look at the pyramid?
I'd love it. If I'm not keeping you...
No, you're not. I've been designated as the official reception committee for the afternoon.
Tell me, have you found the tomb yet?
Not quite, but we're close. We started to uncover what appears to be the entrance to the outer chamber this morning. The diggers are working on clearing that now. It's hard to believe.
What?
That we're almost there. 15 years ago, this entire pyramid was buried in sand. Sir Jeff uncovered it on the 2 former expeditions.
What a tremendous job. What are these statues that stand along the bottom row of stones?
Those are various Egyptian gods. Now, let's see, starting at that end. Thoth, the recorder. Horus, god of truth. Mot, goddess of justice. And Osiris, the king father himself.
2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, you missed one. This one in the middle.
Oh, I'm sorry, so I did.
I can't blame you. He's so ugly. That brutal, snarling face. What does he represent?
That's Anubis, the jackal-faced god. Officially supposed, coincidentally enough, to be the greeter of the dead.
I don't think I'd care to be greeted by that, dead or alive. What do you mean, coincidentally?
Well, this is where an accident happened.
You mean where the man was killed?
You heard about that? Who told you, Sir Jeff?
No, it was, my driver.
Oh. Bad news travels fast in this country.
In any country. Ooh, what a cruel, bestial face he has. What does greeter of the dead mean?
He weighed the hearts of the dead before welcoming them to the great halls of Osiris, the judge and the sentencer. Oh, he's not quite as bad as he looks.
Do tell. I think I'll have that hand down now.
Oh, here you are.
Watch it! Quick! Behind the statue. Let me shield you.
You all right, Diane?
I'm all right, Mr. Irving.
Couldn't we make it John? I called you Diane.
So you did.
It just slipped out. Did it scare you?
If you mean the explosion, of course it did.
Dynamite.
What was the dynamite for, John?
That's just what Sir Jeff's going to want to know. He's going to be hopping mad when he gets back. Damn that Sargon.
Who's Sargon?
Our esteemed Egyptian colleague and so-called archeologist who's been gumming up this expedition ever since it started.
Gumming it up?
Yeah, he resents all outsiders who come here on what he considers his territory.
Well, you can't blame him, I suppose. It's his country.
But just the same, the guy's pretty hard to take. For some reason, he wants that tomb to remain sealed. With that dynamite he set off, maybe he's just gotten his wish. Now, come on. I'll see you back to your tent so I can go find out just what damage has been done.
My dear Miss Elliot, I'm sorry I was responsible for making dinner so late.
Oh, it was worth waiting for, Sir Geoffrey. This Arabian coffee is delicious.
What was all the trouble with Sargon this afternoon?
Well, this morning he wanted to dynamite the entrance open. I said we should wait till you got back. I knew you wouldn't go for it. My God, if we had a cave-in, the whole tomb would have been reburied.
To say nothing of the possible damage to inscriptions inside. So?
Well, he got so red-necked about it, I told him he could set the charges in case.
Oh, that was foolish.
I know, sir. But I never thought he'd be pig-headed enough to set them off on his own hook.
That is it, Oh, Sargon, my dear fellow. Come in. Join us in coffee.
I do not break bread among my enemies. Or with the infidel.
Now, wait a minute. No, Sargon. I know you're upset, but there's no need to be rude. I don't believe you've met our guest. Miss Diane Elias. Ali Atman Ben Sargon, one of our most noted Egyptologists.
How do you do?
Your servant, Anissa.
Now, about this thing this afternoon.
Mr. Irving said the orders came from you.
Why, you... John.
If he denies that, he lies.
You think I'm going to sit still for that?
Sit down, sir. I will not have this bickering in front of a guest. It can be settled later. In the meantime, fortunately, there's been no damage of consequence and the way into the tomb has been opened. No harm has been done.
A great deal of harm has been done. The crew has deserted.
What?
That is what I came to tell you. They have taken all our transport and left. I tried to stop them,
I bet you did. Now, look, Sir Jeff...
Just a moment, John. Oh, why, Sargon?
Perhaps they are wiser than we. A small hole was blown through to the inside, and out of it, they say, comes swirling a fearsome Efreet that grew 10 times taller than a man, and belched a cold, freezing breath from his mouth that carried death in the air. They ran in terror from the ancient curse. They knew the stench of evil in the air.
Well, that's preposterous. As an archaeologist, you know the fetid odor of death is always present when a tomb is opened.
Bunch of simple-minded nitwits.
Perhaps. Except that as a simple-minded Egyptian, I agree with them.
Oh, you intend to leave
On the contrary, I intend to stay. I was referring to the stench of evil, and not from the graves of my ancestors, which I shall remain to protect.
Why, that son of a... You're going to let him get away with that?
John, I'm sure it was a misunderstanding. Bear with me, please. Tomorrow may be the end of a long, long dream. Let me go and pacify poor Sargon.
You intend to open the tomb tomorrow?
Well, the main breach has been made. I'm hopeful it can be managed.
Well, then we must have the press here. I'll go into Cairo tonight.
The men have taken the trucks.
Well, there's still Diane's Jeep. If I may borrow it?
Well, it's not really mine. It's my driver's.
Well, whatever you decide tomorrow will be an exciting day. I shall hope, Miss Elliot, to introduce you at last to your long-dead image. This must come to pass, for I still believe in you as my good luck. John, you'll see Miss Elliot to her tent?
Of course, sir.
Till tomorrow, then.
Good night, sir. I'd still like to have it out myself with that surly...
Look, let Sir Jeff handle it, John. I want to drink in this strange night.
The atmosphere? Or the general excitement?
Both. Everything. The air, the place, the time. That enormous red moon. What makes it like that?
Sand, suspended in the air, filters the spectrum.
Such a lot of sand.
It's a whole lot of moon.
So quiet.
The air is heavy. Sleepy?
No.
Don't go in. Stay with me.
That might be really dangerous.
Why don't we grab the Jeep and go into Cairo?
We can't use the Jeep.
Why not?
It belongs to an inspector of police. Look, please don't say I said anything, but he's here investigating the accident. Sub Rosa. You won't tell anyone.
Well, sure, if you ask me not to. But I still don't see why we can't...
Then ask Inspector Hasid if you can borrow the Jeep. But I won't go with you. I'm too tired and too excited looking forward to tomorrow. And funny how heavy the air seems. I can imagine why those men felt a dark weight, almost like death in the air. I'll be glad to see you tomorrow. Good night, John.
Good night, Diane. Diane?
What is it?
Are you dressed? Can I come into your tent?
Yes. I was just starting to go to bed. What is it?
Look, I don't want to alarm you, but the men were right. There is death in the air tonight.
Well, what now?
Oh, it's nothing to do with the legend. Totally atmospheric. A simoom is on its way. We must race it back to Cairo.
But the tomb...
The tomb can wait, as it has waited for centuries.
Oh, but there won't be room in the Jeep for all of us.
Only you and I are going.
And the others?
Sir Jeff and Sargon won't leave the tomb. Inspector Hasid won't leave Sargon and remains to protect Sir Jeff.
What does that mean?
Sargon is not to be trusted. Sir Jeff and the inspector know that.
But if we have to run for safety, what about them?
Well, they'll be safe in the excavation. It's like a tornado cellar. That's just what this blow will be like anyways.
So why can't we hole up with them?
We could, if you think you can spare the time.
What's that mean?
A simoom. It could blow itself out in 6 or 7 hours or 6 or 7 days. Now, can you spare the time?
Oh, of course not. I'm due in Paris in 3 days. Give me 5 minutes and I'll get my suitcases ready and we'll be on our way. It's getting worse, isn't it? How far to Cairo?
We're not even nearly halfway.
Can you see?
What's to see but sand, sand, and more sand?
John, what's that? Ahead.
Damn. It's the twister itself. Double right around on us.
What are you doing?
We can't hit into it. It would suck us right up into the land of Oz or the Arabian Nights. We've got to run for cover.
Where?
Back to the diggings, the only shelter. Just hold your seat and hope we can outrun it.
Supposing we can't?
Maybe this is one archaeologist who doesn't live in the past and is very interested in the future. Right here and now, we've got to hang on to the present.
Whatever the effectiveness of the ancient curse, it seems the fates conspire to bring Diane Elliott and John Irving back within its range. And if the 4,000-year sleep of the delectable Hasiba is to be disturbed at last, on whom will the curse fall for disturbing it? On the men who planned and made it possible? Or on another woman who dared to challenge her beauty? I'll return shortly with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago News Radio 78.
In the outer chamber, shielded from the wild gust and the roar of the simoon raging outside, Sir Geoffrey and Sargon have isolated and almost cleared the door to the mastaba itself. They are engaged now in cleaning up the debris the explosion earlier in the day had caused.
That does it. The door is free. 15 years, and the moment is here at last. I am about to enter the tomb of Hasiba.
My countrymen have waited 4,000.
Come, Sargon, let for God's sake not in this minute. What is it? There's someone coming. The dead are arisen. But it will be silly. It's from the outside. Oh, it's Miss Elias.
The bad penny and companion. Turning up again.
Well, what happened?
Couldn't make it, sir. We just beat that old twister back here to safety. Turned around on us.
Just the two of you?
Yes.
What happened to your driver?
We understood he stayed with you.
We have not seen him. We thought he stayed with you.
Oh, he probably took off with the rest of the crew. Are you all right, Miss Elliott?
Yes,
Well, then let's forget the elements, the momentary inconveniences and everything but the incredible, the marvelous, the unbelievable moment that lies ahead of us. We're about to enter the tomb of Hasiba.
But the storm...
The storm will blow itself out. We are lighting candles to illuminate centuries of the past. Come, John, Sargon, help me push open the door.
I do not care to see the tomb opened.
I am not surprised.
Inspector Hasid.
Yes, Miss Elliott.
Inspector?
Yes, Ali Atman Ben Sargon. Inspector Hasid, with a very sore head where someone knocked me out. To deny me the sight of the tomb and its contents. By all means, let us open the door. I am not asking but commanding with this gun.
Let's go, Sargon.
There it is. Beyond that black aperture lies Hasiba, wrapped in her blanket of jewels. Who shall be first to enter?
The right is mine.
The right is Sir Jeffrey's. Don't make me use my gun.
This is a moment I dread as much as I desire. Who knows what lies in that dark cave? The tomb may have been rifled centuries ago. Its artifacts destroyed, the very catafalque itself vandalized. The curse was never idle. And then suddenly I am too old and afraid to enter. Diane, I brought you here as my luck. Will you risk it and enter first?
If you wish me to.
I wish it with all my heart. John, take the torch and light her in.
Yes, sir. Careful, Diane. Easy.
What is there to fear?
Who knows? The dead resent intruders.
Well, I only hope that... Oh!
What is it?
Stone beneath my feet.
Look out,
What happened, John?
The door to the tomb swung shut.
Well, can we open it?
No. The counterweights locked it somehow.
Hold up the torch.
Why?
There's an inscription inside the door. What does it say?
But it would take time to decipher it.
Don't worry, I can guess. He who breaks this seal forever seals his doom. He will walk no more among the living or find his way among the dead.
It's just what I was afraid of. Hopeless. The door can't be budged.
What happened?
The stone you stepped on, designed to trip the counterbalancing rocks and lock them. To get the door open now, they'll have to blast.
So that was Tothman's ancient curse.
It's pretty effective.
Look, hold up the torch, John.
Is that better?
Yes. It's not a very large chamber.
No.
In the center there, is that...
Yep. That's the catafalque. Hasiba.
Can we look?
Why not?
Poor little princess.
Poor little rich girl.
So young. Can we open the sarcophagus?
I don't know. Somewhere there should be... Oh, let's see. Here. It's too heavy. As far as I dare slide it.
Such a big coffin for such a little girl, but... Oh, but she is lovely.
The face is only a death mask.
Where are the jewels, John?
The jewels that filled the casket to the brim.
That's right. Evidently, old Thothmas regretted his generous impulse and sneaked in later and pinched his fabulous fortune.
How?
I don't know.
What's the matter with the torch?
I'm afraid it's going out.
Well, can't we light it again?
No. Lack of oxygen. We've got to get out of here.
Haven't you any idea how?
The catafalque itself. Let's have a look.
But how? Where? It's just a simple box.
Except here, at the foot of it. Carved in bas-relief. Oh, wait. Let me hold the torch close.
Yeah, that's better.
What is it?
That face. The god you showed me outside the pyramid. With the jackal face. What's his name?
Anubis.
Greeter of the dead.
But he has another name. The opener of the ways. Diane, maybe this is it. Press it. Try it.
Yes. The opener of the ways.
Oh. Smell that, Diane. Fresh air. Look at the torch light up. And there are steps beneath. We're free.
I wonder, John. I wonder.
I can see it clearly now, Diane. Sargon, he's been plundering the tomb. That was the reason for all the delays he caused. He had to have time to get rid of the jewels. And now, unless we escape somehow, he's safe.
Inspector Hasid won't let him go.
We might as well have all the cards on the table. When I stumbled into you entering the chamber, it was because Sargon pushed the inspector against me and grabbed the gun. You can be sure Sir Geoffrey and Hasid are both dead by now. And Sargon is on his way to freedom with the jewels.
Well, then it's up to us to stop him.
How?
What's the matter?
A blank wall. This looks like the end of the road.
It does, at that.
How do we get out of this?
That's all up to you, John.
What does that mean?
It's not very difficult to figure out. You know just where to put your hand to move this rock. Don't you, John?
I? Why should I?
Because you've been here so often before.
You know?
I think so. And what I don't know, I can guess. You found this secret entrance some time ago. And you stole the jewels, didn't you? You've been the one that's been delaying things while you tried to figure out some way to get away with them. My Jeep with me as cover was the perfect way out, if it hadn't been for the sandstorm.
All right. I admit it. Which leaves you with two choices.
Which are?
Stay here or come with me. Diane, I am more than a little in love with you, and I promise you there's a fortune packed in your Jeep that could make us able to live like Thothmas and his Queen Hasiba. In your luggage, it could easily be smuggled out of the country. Half of it, all of it's yours, if you share it with me.
And if I don't?
I'll have to take my chances alone, which includes, unfortunately, leaving you shut in here where you can't blow the whistle on me.
Two choices,
What else?
This.
What? A gun? Where did you get that?
From the inspector. And don't think I don't know how to use it. Are you ready to open the door now?
Suppose I just refused.
The torch is beginning to burn low again. That means we're running out of oxygen, doesn't it?
Okay. You win. Here, catch it.
What?
I hope I didn't hurt you. But I had to get the gun.
What are you going to do?
Oh, nothing violent. That really isn't my nature. Just leave you here. With any luck, they'll break through in time and find you. Goodbye, Diane.
You can't.
Oh, now please don't move. I'll leave you the torch when I go. Damn Simo, Mr. Rangy.
You'll never get through
it.
I'll have to take my chances. It's all I have left. Now move back. I'm sorry. Sorry for everything except the jewels. If you could only see them. Well, here goes.
No, I'm all right.
You must rest, my dear. There's time later.
No, I want to finish telling you. He was leaving, and he had started the door or the statue base that closed the secret entrance, and then suddenly the wind was too strong, and he fell back and got caught in all those tons of stone, just like the other man.
I would spare little pity on him, Miss Elliot. The other man was my brother. Sahib Irving thought he had killed me just as successfully.
But I don't understand. Why did he start to come back?
His return was involuntary.
What do you mean, Mr. Sargon?
He underestimated the enduring power of an ancient curse. He was returned to his fate.
So the curse was a real one, after all.
He will walk no more among the living, nor find his way among the dead. But, thanks to you, Miss Elliot, the ancient gods are satisfied, and the lady of whom you are a reincarnation will also be reborn.
Hasiba, the gazelle-footed, trailer of perfumed musk. Hasiba, the doe-eyed, radiant perfection of the three worlds. Why shouldn't she be reborn? I'm in favor of it. What man wouldn't be? I'll be back shortly. It was Nathaniel Hawthorne, one of our American greats, who said it. A grave, wherever found, preaches a short and pithy sermon to the soul. Let my comment on this tale be as brief. Let the dead past bury its past, nor pause too much to think on today. The future is what leads us on. If we march to any banners, let it be to those. Our cast included Kim Hunter, George Petrie, Arnold Moss, Dan Ocko, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Johnny, be careful.
Come off it, Lisa. Now look, Scarlett, if you're the devil and you want my camera, you'd have no problem in getting it. You wouldn't be here asking for a swap, practically begging me to give it to you.
Ordinarily, you'd be right. But there are unalterable rules which govern my organization, and one of them is that when a mortal makes a legitimate purchase from us, we're bound to a bargain. We can only ask that he return his purchase of his own free will. Now that I've revealed this much to you, I suggest that you take the...
No deal, Nick. Or whatever your name is. You made a bargain, and you're stuck.
May I make one correction? It is not I, Johnny, who is stuck, but you, who are doomed.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Come in. Welcome. This is E.G. Marshall, and you're welcome in my world where things are even stranger than they seem, and reality falls before truth. We've all heard that one picture is worth 1,000 words. But is this really true? A quick example. Would your sweetheart rather hear you say, "I love you," or look at your picture? But pictures have their place, as millions of camera fans all over the world will tell you. Listen as we hear about a strange and dangerous camera which brought tragedy to those who owned it.
No, please don't hit me again. I told you I don't know it. Oh, don't. There's no sense in you hitting me and hitting me. I don't know the combination. Please. I don't care about the camera. I really don't. I would tell you if I could, but Johnny changed the combination on the safe because he knows how I felt about it.
Our mystery drama, Die, You're on Magic Camera, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Murray Burnett and stars Nick Pryor and Teri Keane. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act One. How do you feel when your host or hostess pulls out the old family album for a quiet evening looking over family snapshots? Some people find this enjoyable. Johnny Carlin loved picture taking. At the time our story opens, Johnny had attained a cherished ambition. He was the proud owner of a brand new Volecta S60, a magnificent camera, and the very last word in self-developing photography. To add to his happiness, he was taking the very first picture on the Volecta of his beautiful and bubbly girl, Lisa Kane.
Move to your left, Lisa. If you can sort of lean against the pillar of the bank there. Yeah, that's it. Hold it. Good.
I can't wait to see it.
Neither can I.
What happens now?
You just push this button and wait for the picture to develop.
Seems like a miracle.
It's a brilliant piece of scientific work. Someday I'll explain how it works. Now, we open this back, and here's your picture.
But, well, how strange. Is that the picture you took?
It sure isn't. Wait a minute. I can't figure out what happened.
Look how clear the inside of the bank is. Is that a holdup going on?
Well, yeah, it looks like it.
But there hasn't been a holdup. Look, everything's normal.
Yeah, I can see it is, but the camera doesn't lie. There are 3 guys with guns and people lying on the floor. This is crazy. I don't know what I did about breakfast before I met you, Lisa.
You had coffee and Danish and some greasy spoon.
Remind me to chalk up another reason for us to get married. It'll be more convenient for me to have you in my kitchen than for me to come over to your place every morning.
I'll remind you.
Hey, Lisa, look at this.
Intercoastal Trust held up by 3 bandits who escaped with $30,000 in cash and negotiable securities. Johnny, isn't that the...
That's the bank where we stood when I took that picture.
What does it mean?
Hand me my camera.
Here.
It beats me that this is a perfectly ordinary Volecta.
Well, could it have been just a freak thing? Some kind of a crazy mix-up?
You tell me how this camera could take a picture of a holdup in a bank that hadn't happened yet. Can you explain that?
No. Why don't we just forget about it?
Because there's a reward for information leading to the capture of the robbers.
You think the picture we have shows the actual robbers?
Well, it's worth a try. Yeah, I'm calling about the Intercoastal Bank robbery yesterday. I think I have something that'll help.
Thank you for calling. What do you have?
Well, I can't tell it over the phone.
Why not?
Because it's a photograph.
A photograph?
Yeah, I was taking a picture of my girl outside the Intercoastal Bank yesterday, and somehow I got a picture of the holdup.
Where are you now?
My office is 1 Central Park South. I'll be there in an hour. The name is Carlin Communications. I'm John Carlin.
See you in an hour, Mr. Carlin, and thanks.
You didn't say anything about the reward.
There's time for that when I get him in the office. You expect anyone?
No.
You'll forgive me, but the door was open.
What, that's impossible. I always double lock that door.
We're all forgetful at times. You're John Carlin.
Who are you?
My card.
Electa Camera Corporation, Nicholas Scarlett, sales representative. Yes, Mr. Scarlett?
I'll come straight to the point, Mr. Carlin. Our records show that you purchased a Volecta S60 on the 27th of this month, correct?
That's right.
Well, it was our mistake. No question about it. A very grave error. That model was sold to you by some stupid clerk. It is an experimental camera that should not be on the market. So, since it was our error, we are going to give you your choice of any 2 Volecta cameras you wish, including our motion picture line, when you return the experimental model. Fair?
What kind of experiments were you doing with this model?
Not my department, Johnny. I'm just here to get the camera back.
Well, suppose I want to keep the camera.
Why would you want to do that?
Suppose I did.
Bad move, Johnny. I wouldn't advise it.
You mean there's a chance that the Volecta people might try to grab it sometime? Rip me off?
Oh, never. You paid for the camera. It's yours unless you return it voluntarily. That's the rule of the company, and that's the way it works. Now, what do you say? Do we have a deal?
I'd like to think it over.
Oh, sure thing. But believe me, Johnny, this camera wasn't meant for you. And whatever you're thinking, it won't work out.
When did you take this shot, Mr. Carlin?
Well, I don't remember the exact time, Inspector, but it must have been during the robbery. When else could it have been?
I don't know. But maybe you can explain how it is that the faces of the holdup men are so sharp and clear.
Well, the Volecta S60 is a marvelous camera.
Yeah, it must be, since the bank camera shows that the men were wearing stocking masks.
Johnny, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but I've got to get out of this hotel lobby.
Can't figure it out. It just doesn't make sense. Every single one of these pictures came out just the way I took them.
Well, why shouldn't they?
Well, how do you explain that picture in front of the bank?
I told you, it was a freak, that's all. Come on, let's get out of here.
Well, maybe you're right. There's a phone over there. You sit in this chair while I call Scarlett and tell him I'm ready to make the deal.
Okay, but make it fast.
1 minute.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Scarlett, please.
Who?
Mr. Nicholas Scarlett, sales representative.
I'm sorry, we have no Mr. Scarlett here.
No, you must have. I have his card right here. It says Nicholas Scarlett.
I'm sorry, sir. There's no Mr. Scarlett working for us.
Is it all set? Can we go now?
Volecta never heard of Nicholas Scarlett. He doesn't work for them.
What? Well, that's impossible. He offered you...
He's a phony. He just wants the camera. I've got to figure this thing out from every angle.
Johnny, I'm tired and I'm hungry. I just want to get out of this hotel.
Okay. On our way out, I just want to take one more shot.
Johnny, that's an empty passenger elevator.
I can see that. Okay, there. Now let's go. We'll look at what comes out in the restaurant.
Eggs are hard.
Oh, I never would have believed a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich could taste this good.
Look, Lisa, look at this shot.
What, the empty elevator?
It isn't empty on this picture. Look.
Johnny. Oh, Johnny, I'm frightened.
Lisa, you've got to help me find the girl in the picture.
Johnny, I want you to throw that camera in the river.
And just forget about what's going to happen to that girl in the picture with the knife at her throat?
How do we know it hasn't happened already?
Honey, I've been through that with you. The first picture showed a robbery that was going to happen, and it did. Now we have a girl and a man in a hotel elevator, and the guy has a knife at her throat. We might be able to stop that from happening.
Oh, we don't even know who she is.
She's probably a guest at the hotel. One of the desk clerks should recognize her picture if you show it to her.
This picture? I can't show them that.
No, of course not. But I can crop it so that the man with the knife
Johnny,
is out.
It's no use. I don't want to go around asking about a girl I don't know. I don't want anything to do with that camera. I just want you to get rid of it.
Lisa, do you want to throw away $1 million?
Johnny, you sound like a stranger. I don't even know you. Why do you talk about $1 million? What's this picture got to do with...
Don't you see the possibilities that exist with this camera? I can predict when a crime will occur. I can also show the face of the criminal. Now, will you think of what a private detective agency could do with something like that?
But how would you explain it?
I don't have to explain anything.
I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about the whole thing.
She's right, John. Listen to what she's saying.
Mr. Scarlett, where did you come from?
Well, I have here the 2 cameras that the Velecta Company promised you in return for the experimental model.
You don't work for Velecta. I checked. They never heard of you.
That's of no importance.
No? Well, what is?
That you return the camera to me.
The way I figure it is, you just want that camera for yourself. I don't buy that story about the camera being an experimental model.
Oh, really? No? Then what do you think it is?
Well,
yes?
Well, what difference does it make? It's mine.
Unfortunately.
Look, I've had about enough of you, Mr. Scarlett. Now, we have work to do, and if you'll excuse me...
You'll find what you're interested in this newspaper on page 3.
Unknown assailant stabs girl in hotel elevator.
Johnny, that's tomorrow's paper.
Oh, just an early edition. It will be on the streets in 2 hours. At any rate, you're too late to help Miss Stearns. But to ease your conscience, she wasn't seriously injured and should be out of the hospital in a day or 2.
What hospital? It doesn't say here. And how do you know so much?
Oh, you know, it's always embarrassing when we're forced into this position, especially in this atomic computer age, but I see there's no help for it. Now, through an error, a piece of equipment used by my organization has come into your possession. I don't think it's necessary to explain that this shouldn't be in the hands of any mortal.
Hold it. Hold it right there. You said mortal. Are you trying to tell me that you're not a human being?
Johnny, be careful.
Come off it, Lisa. Now, look, Scarlett, if you're the devil and you want my camera, you'd have no problem in getting it. You wouldn't be here asking for a swap, practically begging me to give it to you.
Ordinarily, you'd be right. But there are unalterable rules which govern my organization, and one of them is that when a mortal makes a legitimate purchase from us, we're bound to a bargain. We can only ask that he return his purchase of his own free will. Now that I've revealed this much to you, I suggest that you take the...
No deal, Nick. Or whatever your name is. You made a bargain, and you're stuck.
May I make one correction? It is not I, Johnny, who is stuck, but you, who are doomed.
I don't suppose there's one of us who hasn't thought of what they'd say or ask if they really had a conversation with the devil. You know, I like to believe that most of us have at one time or another, but that we somehow either didn't recognize him or didn't believe him. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. When a man looks back on his life, it's easy for him to pick out the mistakes he made. Where, if he had done things differently, his life would have been better. However, man is always the victim of his desires, and in today's world, the desire for wealth can blind. Johnny Carlin had become the owner of a strange camera, a camera which seemed to be able to take pictures of the future. And Johnny Carlin had visions of untold wealth. He had also been warned, but greed has its own way of muffling warnings.
I hate all of this. I wish you'd give it up, Johnny. I can't stand all this lying and maneuvering with people who are calling for help.
Who's lying? We can deliver. Lisa, all we have to do is tell them that we have to take a picture, that's all.
But there have been dozens of calls from people who've been ripped off or mugged and want us to find the criminal.
Simple. We tell them we can't help them. This is the Carlin Crime Prevention Agency. We can forestall a crime. We can't solve it. You don't have to do anything except tell them the truth. All right? Now, what have we got today?
You must be kidding. Here, look. Here's just a few of the latest messages.
Huh? Banks? Hey, these are good. Banks will be regular customers when we get set up properly. Nothing. Hey, Andrea Scudder. Well, what do you know?
You know her?
Well, the same way you do. Heiress to the Scudder millions, beauty, playgirl, athlete, and all-around hellraiser.
She said she wanted to talk to you about a personal problem.
Uh-huh. Andrea Scudder. That's money. Call her and make the appointment.
Mr. Carlin, I'm being blackmailed. I don't know by whom. Can you find out?
Well, I can try, Miss Scudder. If I don't succeed, there'll be no fee.
And if you do, there'll be no publicity. I don't want my name spread all over the front pages.
You have my word.
Fine. The job is worth $50,000. Is that satisfactory?
Yeah, that's okay. I'd like a little more information.
Such as?
Well, what happens when and if I deliver the name of the blackmailer to you?
You get my check, my thanks, and my farewell. I'll take it from there.
Not satisfactory. What? Look at it from my point of view, Miss Scudder. You ask me to get you a name and then walk away? Now, obviously, you have some plans for this blackmailer. Probably for getting rid of him?
That is none of your business.
Granted, but if you intend to hire someone to take care of your problem with him, then that can't be done very quietly, and I might get involved.
Mr. Carlin, let's put it this way. I am not a killer, nor do I intend to become one. This blackmailer must be someone in my circle of friends. You'll have to take my word for that because of the information that he holds over my head.
Miss Scudder, excuse me. You keep saying he. Why?
Because it's a man's voice disguised that talks to me over the telephone.
But the blackmailer could conceivably be a woman.
It's possible. But it would still be one of my group.
Okay. Now, the only request that I make of you is that you allow me to take your picture.
My picture?
Just a snapshot.
Well, I don't see what that is.
Well, that's the way I work. I get strong impressions from a picture. Emanations, call it whatever you want. It works.
All right. How do you want me to pose?
I don't have my camera with me. You see, I wasn't sure that I would take your case. Could you come to my office tomorrow at your convenience? Full face, if you please.
Whatever you say.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's it. Thank you for coming to the office.
Well, what happens now?
Well, I'll study the picture and hopefully get some vibrations which will enable me to name the blackmailer.
How long do you think it will take?
Not long. I may be in touch with you this afternoon.
All my instinct tells me that this was a waste of time. But if it doesn't work, it'll cost me nothing.
Exactly, Miss Scudder. See you later.
I hope.
You will, Miss Scudder. You certainly will. Lisa?
Yes?
She's gone. Come on. We'll see what the picture looks like.
Well, I don't know what you expect to come out of this. What is it?
She said she wouldn't. She She said she wasn't a killer.
Who's the man?
I've never seen him before. But from the looks of this picture, she's pumping a few bullets into the blackmailer.
Are you sure you know what you're going to tell her?
I'm not going to tell her anything. Hand me the scissors.
Here.
All right. There. Now, all we have is a picture of the blackmailer. I'll take this up to her and say, here's the man who's been blackmailing you. Give me a check for $50,000, please.
Johnny, she looked a lot older in this picture.
Well, he isn't too young either.
I want you to promise me something. When and if you get the $1 million, you'll forget about the camera and throw it away.
Lisa...
Johnny, please. Promise.
Okay. If that will make you happy, okay.
Come in, Mr. Carlin. I must say you work fast. The picture did the trick.
Yes?
And you have the name?
No. But I have his picture.
His picture?
Here it is. You can probably put a name to it.
If this is your idea of a joke, Mr. Carlin, I am not amused.
But I don't understand. Something must
Get
have gone
out.
wrong. No, wait a minute.
I meant what I said, Mr.
And
Carlin.
I've got something to say to you, Miss Scudder. You asked my help in locating a blackmailer. Now, I came up with this picture, and it's obviously upset you. I don't know who the man in the picture is.
The man in the picture is Tracy Kingsford, my fiancé.
Your fiancé?
Exactly. And I know he isn't the blackmailer because he could and will have half of everything I have when we marry next month.
But...
Now, I don't know what your purpose was in showing me this picture, or even how you got it, but this picture of Tracy, he isn't this old. Where did you get this?
Well, maybe it isn't your fiancé.
Don't be ridiculous. Where did you get it?
Well, I'm afraid that's confidential.
I want to know why you thought Tracy was the blackmailer.
Miss Scudder, I told you, I made a
will
mistake.
pay for the information. What is your price?
If I decide to tell you, it won't cost you a penny, but I'll have to think it over.
What are you going to do, Johnny?
I honestly don't know. I've learned one thing, though, about this camera.
Yes, so have I.
It's best to use it with places or institutions like banks or jewelry stores rather than with people.
It's wrong for you to have it and even worse for you to try to use it.
Now, Lisa, it can't do me any harm. If I learn to use it properly, I won't get into anything like the Scudder situation.
You still haven't decided what to do about that.
Yeah, I have. I'm just going to forget it.
Forget it? How do you forget something like that?
A very good question, Miss Kane.
You're after the camera again, aren't you, Scarlett?
Of course. I should think by this time you'd be convinced that it isn't for mortals.
Right. You have to say that, huh?
Well, that doesn't make it a lie.
But it makes it suspect. I can take whatever you say with a grain of salt.
Well, let's get back to Miss Scudder. You know that she's going to kill her husband, and you're going to let her. Can you live with that knowledge?
Well, can I stop her?
You can try.
Okay. Tell me how.
You can tell her the truth.
That would be interesting. Tell me, Miss Kane. Suppose someone came in here and told you that you were going to kill Johnny after you're married. Would you believe him? What? Would you?
No. Johnny, you could put the picture back together and show her the picture. Show her shooting him.
Yeah, but she'll ask me how I got the picture.
You're getting to be good at lying. You'll tell her you have this gift of...
Prophecy?
Yes. That somehow when you take pictures of people, it shows the future somehow. That you've only recently discovered the gift. You could tell her that.
Oh, interesting.
Look, we don't need you here.
You don't know how wrong you are.
Why don't you just give up? I'm not going to give you the camera.
That's final?
You can bank on it.
All right. Then I'll ask you for a favor, and I give you my word. You won't regret it.
Yeah. Well, what is it?
Permit me to take one picture.
What for?
As a favor.
No deal. Once you get your hands on the camera...
Johnny, I give you my solemn promise that I will take only one picture and immediately return the camera to you.
Well, why should I believe you?
Because I've already told you that I can only get the camera from you if you give it to me. I cannot trick you.
Johnny, please, let him.
Well, all right. So long as it's clearly understood that you're only taking one picture.
Understood.
All right. Lisa, get the camera.
Right away.
Wait a minute. What picture are you going to take?
That wasn't part of our bargain. The only right you have, Johnny, is to keep the camera and destroy yourself. That right has been granted to you.
Here's the camera, Mr. Scarlett.
Thank you.
No, wait a minute. Not so fast. I told him...
Thank you. And here's your camera, Johnny.
Well, what about the picture? You just snapped something at random.
Oh, the picture, Johnny. The picture is mine. I hope that I will not have to show it to you.
Please, I told you I don't know. Oh, please, there's no sense in you hitting me. I don't know the combination. I don't care about the camera. I don't. I would tell you if I could, but he changed the combination to the safe because he knows how I
feel. Hello?
John Carlin?
Speaking.
Inspector Barrett. Remember me?
Oh, yeah, Inspector.
You know a girl named Lisa Keane?
Well, of course. She's my fiancée, and she also works with me.
Well, forgive me, but I've been through this before. I've got the kind of news that can't be broken gently.
What is it? Something happened to Lisa?
She was beaten up. Badly. She's in the emergency clinic at City Hospital, and she's asking for you.
Since the days when Homer smote his blooming lyre and regaled Grecian nobles with the stories of Greek gods and men, which had become part of our Western heritage, man has sought to pierce the veil of the future. And ever since those days, from Cassandra on, man has consistently ignored the words of prophecy, no matter from where they came. Now, Johnny Carlin has been given more than a warning. Whether he heeds it or not, we'll find out when we return shortly with Act 3.
We're those news people at Mid-America's Total Information Center. News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
Black magic from a black box. A seemingly ordinary camera purchased by Johnny Carlin has turned out to be anything but ordinary. In fact, it has the capability of depicting future crimes which will be committed by or against the people photographed. The camera has brought Johnny a lot of money, a lot of notoriety, and a lot of trouble. Lisa Keane, his fiancée, is in the emergency clinic of City Hospital because she has been brutally beaten.
You got here fast, Carlin.
Where is she, Inspector?
One of the rooms down the hall. She's been asking for you.
All right, let's go.
Any idea why she was picked on?
No, wasn't it an ordinary mugging?
Hardly. She was attacked in your office, and nothing was taken from her purse.
Johnny, I want Johnny.
I'm here, Lisa. I'm right here.
Oh, Johnny, they wanted the camera. They knew it. They knew it was in the safe.
Now, don't try to talk now.
Please, let me. I want to tell you.
Did you see their faces, Miss Keane?
Yes.
You think you could recognize them if I showed you some pictures?
Inspector, look, I don't think she's in any shape.
Johnny, get rid of the camera. Get rid of the camera.
Is this the same camera that took the pictures that nabbed the men who robbed the Intercoastal Bank?
Inspector, look, you can tell she's in pain.
Doctors say she's going to be all right. What about the camera?
Well, this isn't the time or the place.
This is the time. You want to find another place? It's okay with me.
Oh, that's good coffee. Another cup, Inspector?
We got the coffee. Give me some facts.
Look, I've told you everything I could.
The camera. Now, what's with the camera?
It's one of the new Volectas. You've seen them.
Sure, they all take pictures of masked stick-up guys and show their faces, right?
Look, Inspector, I can't explain how that happened.
I'm going to level with you, Carlin, and then you better level with me.
Look, Inspector, are you threatening me?
I didn't press you about it before because you did me a favor. I got a lot of brownie points for bringing in those bank robbers. But now the heat's on me again. The new commissioner is throwing his weight around. And I'm looking for something that'll help me score with him.
Well, I'm afraid you're looking in the wrong direction,
Well,
Inspector.
let me see the camera.
I've told you.
I know what you told me, and I know you haven't leveled with me. Two guys don't beat up a girl looking for a combination to a safe that holds nothing but a camera. Unless they want that particular camera awfully bad.
Inspector, that's pure speculation. Now, they may have thought there was a lot of cash in the safe.
The girl says all they wanted was the camera.
Inspector, she's like you. She's got a thing about it.
Well, I sure have. Take a guy named Johnny Carlin in the communications business. He buys a camera, and all of a sudden he's in the crime prevention business, and doing very well. How come, Carlin?
I discovered I had a special talent.
Yeah, I checked with some of your satisfied clients. They tell me you use ESP.
Yeah, that's right.
And a camera.
Yeah, that's right again.
Well, I don't buy it.
Well, I'm not trying to sell it to you.
Yes, you are, Carlin. You're trying to sell me a phony story. Now, I want that camera you use for your ESP bit.
It seems to me that you're a lot more interested in the camera than you are in getting the guys who beat up Lisa.
I haven't heard you screaming at me to find them.
If I thought that would do any good, you'd hear me on the moon.
Meaning?
Meaning that I think we'll get those guys one way or another.
You think you have a way?
Maybe.
Something to do with a camera.
You have your methods, I have mine. If I come across anything, and I expect to, I'll let you know, Inspector. 7 left, 3 right,
And all the way past 0 to the right, to 4, and then 11 to the left.
Scarlett. You stole it.
Oh, Johnny, when are you going to start believing me? I told you, it's against the rules.
What are you doing here?
I came to help.
Well, I don't want your help.
You're not interested in finding the man who beat up Lisa?
Well, I don't need you.
Of course. You have the camera. May I remind you that it only works in the future, not in the past. The crime on Lisa has already been committed.
And that's all you came here for?
And to give you this snapshot. Remember? The one I took in this office when you lent me the camera?
Let me see it.
Here it is.
These are the guys. Here they are. It's a perfect picture. Excuse me.
Where are you going?
I'm going to show it to Inspector Barrett. He'll be able to pick up these hoods in no time.
Of course. And what do you tell him when he asks you where you got this picture? He'll be more determined than ever to get his hands on the camera.
Well, then, why did you snap it? Wait a minute. You knew it was going to happen. Why didn't you warn her?
Which question do you want answered?
Both of them. Neither of them. Look, I don't know. I just want to do something.
Johnny, give me the camera.
All right. Look, I'll make a deal with you.
That's what I'm here for. Which 2 cameras of the Volecta line do you want?
Yeah, you're pretty sharp, all right. I'll give you the camera for $1 million.
Sorry, Johnny. I can't make that deal.
Why not?
Because it's against the rules.
Aye.
I had to get a special concession even to be able to offer you 2 cameras. Believe me, Johnny, a mortal cannot profit by a mistake like the one that was made with your camera. So get out while you can. And let me have the camera.
You know, you sound like a broken record.
Well, haven't you had enough? Can't you understand now why this camera can bring only tragedy?
Well, which question do you want answered?
Oh, it's interesting that I find it much more difficult to do a good deed than an evil one.
I'd like to know what makes you think you can pick out these mugs, Carlin. You've never even seen them.
Yeah? Well, what have you got to lose, Inspector?
Time. I could be showing these mugshots to your girl. She's the one who saw them. You looking for someone you know?
I'm just looking for a couple of faces. I think... Wait a minute. Yep. Here you are. Here are your men.
Joe Horn and Spence Vogel. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
How do you know? What happened since I saw you at the hospital?
Will you stop asking questions and pick these guys up?
What if you're wrong? I look like some kind of...
I'm not wrong. Hey, I've got good news, Lisa. The doctor says you'll be able to go home in a couple of days.
That's nice.
Well, honey, you don't seem very happy.
Johnny, what have you done about the camera?
Isn't it great? They've caught the two guys who hurt you.
So you've still got the camera.
Look, Lisa...
Hello. It's for you, Inspector Barrett.
Barrett? How did he know I was here? Thank you. Hello?
Colin, I want you to meet me in your office as soon as possible.
Well, why? What's up?
I'll tell you when you get there. Be there.
What did he want?
Well, he wants me to meet him in my office as soon as possible.
Johnny, please don't go.
Oh, Lisa, why not?
You just got here.
Look, if I go now, I can finish with Barrett and get back and spend an hour or so with you before I get thrown out. Inspector, I never really thanked you for getting those two guys.
That's what I came about.
What, to get thanked?
In a way. I want that camera.
Inspector, look, you must be losing your marbles. I told you...
Now listen to me, Colin, and listen good. I put 16 years of my life into the police force, and they've just transferred me to Staten Island. Me, Inspector Barrett, sent to... Well, you get the idea. Now, I'm not sitting still for this transfer. I gotta have your little camera.
Inspector, what good do you think the camera's gonna do you?
Oh, come off it, Colin. I'm a cop. I've done every kind of police work from pounding a beat to undercover surveillance. And never have I heard of a guy who could predict crimes and name the criminals. And you can't either, Carl.
Oh, well, wait a minute. I never said I could.
You can't. But you got some kind of newfangled device on that trick camera of yours, and I want it. It's going to make a big difference to my career.
Look, Inspector, I'm sorry about the transfer, but it's upset you. Now, you're dreaming. You don't believe for a minute that I've got a gadget on a camera that can look into the future?
That's just what I believe. It's the only thing that makes sense.
All right. Now, suppose I prove it to you.
How?
I'll show you the camera.
Fine.
You'll look at the camera, and if you know anything about cameras, you'll see that it's a perfectly ordinary Felecta S60 with no extra gadgets on it.
That's why you keep it in a safe.
Here, Inspector. Look for yourself. You see? A plain Felecta. No gimmicks. Nothing.
What did you leave in the safe?
Nothing. Take a look.
I will.
All right. Now you satisfied?
No. I think I'll take a picture.
Now, Inspector, you're being childish.
What's your beef? I'll just...
Now, give me the camera.
Back off, Colin.
No, come on. I said give me the camera.
Colin, I'm warning you. I warned you, Colin. Now get up. On your feet. Colin. Colin. Good Lord. He's dead.
Inspector Barrett, hold up a second.
Who are you?
Nick Scarlett. I'm a friend of Johnny's.
Oh?
He asked me to pick up his camera. I see you're carrying it.
I'll check with him.
Oh, really? That won't be necessary.
Look, I've never seen you before in my life. I know that this camera means a lot to Johnny. You don't expect me to hand it over to some stranger simply because you know Johnny and you ask for it.
Inspector, you're in a better position than most people to know what happens to people who try to hang on to this camera. You'd be well advised to hand it over.
You're the smoothest con man I ever met. Now get lost before I take you in for loitering.
Now, come in. Sit down. Make it fast, Barrett. What do you got?
Commissioner, this camera is the greatest crime prevention device that's ever been invented.
What? Barrett.
Please, Commissioner, listen. You must know that I came up with the guys who stuck up the Intercoastal Bank and those mugs who beat up that girl in the office of the Carlin Detective Agency.
I know that.
I did it with this camera. Look, I'll prove it to you, Commissioner. I'm going to pull a picture out right now. Here. I'm going to pull it out and lay it on your desk.
That's not going to prove anything.
Here, you just look at it. And then tell me what you think of this camera. Well, convinced?
Yeah. You've convinced me, Barrett. Francie, you and Sergeant White, come on in here. I want to put Inspector Barrett under arrest.
Arrest? What's the charge?
Murder 1. According to this picture, you've killed this man in his office.
What?
Well, take a look. Picture's clear as a bell. That's you standing over what looks like a very dead man. I don't know how you got past my secretary.
My card, Commissioner.
Nick Scarlett. Interpol?
Yes, that's right. You see, Commissioner, we've been after that camera that Barrett handed you for the past 2 months.
Oh, look, Mr. Scarlett, you're not going to tell me that Interpol...
The camera was used to smuggle heroin. Oh, yes. Very clever arrangement behind the shutters. Very clever. I'll give you a receipt and take it along if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Just as long as you leave me the picture that Barrett took when he was killing Johnny Carlin.
Oh, Commissioner, that will be my pleasure.
I often wonder where that camera is today. Sometimes I think that it may be used by St. Peter when an applicant stands at his gate demanding admission to heaven. Perhaps St. Peter pulls out a picture which would effectively silence a sinner who hadn't been caught by the law here on earth. I'll be back shortly. How about it? Would you love to know the future? To be able to see exactly what's going to happen to you tomorrow, next week, next year? I hear a chorus of no's. It would be unbearable to know the exact date you're going to die or be mugged or be involved in a fatal accident. I agree. But I leave you with this. Why do so many people consult fortune tellers? Our cast included Nick Pryor, Teri Keane, Joan Lovejoy, Joseph Julian, and William Redfield. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Well, it was a horrible thing to say, but you were angry, upset.
Yes, I was, but don't you realize that the same thing happened before with Ezra? I said I hoped something terrible would happen to him, and it did.
Yes, it did, but we often say things we don't really mean.
But I did mean it. I meant it both times. That's what makes it so frightening.
Why frightening? Look, you don't think that just saying it had anything to do with their deaths, do you?
Yes, I do.
John!
Well, I do. Do you remember what I told you about the glass ball?
That there was something in it?
Yes. What if there was? And what if, when I released it, it began doing things for me in return?
Oh, John, that's ridiculous.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I'm afraid the chairs aren't very comfortable, but that doesn't matter because in just a moment, you'll be sitting on the edge of them. For we'll be bringing you the tale of the thing inside. A strange and potent force sealed up and held in check that cried to be released. And once it was freed, brought terror and death to a whole countryside.
Sergeant, what's this all about? Has there been any trouble over at Ezra's place?
I guess you could call it trouble, Mrs. Farrar. He was killed last night.
He was what?
Killed. Murdered. His nephew went over there early this morning and found him.
Oh, but that's awful. I thought he was a dreadful man, but... Well, have you any idea who did it?
Not yet. That's why I stopped by here to find out if you'd seen or heard anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish we could help you, but... Well, how was he killed?
It was pretty bad. Whoever did it must have really hated him or else been out of his mind. Because it was done with an axe.
Our mystery drama, The Thing Inside, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Robert Newman and stars Ralph Bell and Bryna Raeburn. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act 1.
Temperature in Chicago, 37 degrees at the lakefront, 36 degrees at O'Hare, 35 officially at Midway.
What is evil? Is it abstract or concrete? Does it seek us out or do we seek it? Either way, there is something in all of us that senses its presence. And when we do, most of us draw back from it in fear. But occasionally, for reasons we do not always understand, we are attracted to it and come under its spell, thus freeing it to work its destruction on an unsuspecting world. Our story begins as John and Sarah Farrar get out of their car and walk towards a rather shabby and run-down antique shop in a small New England village.
It's not much of a place.
No. Still, you never know. Paul's picked up some pretty nice things in places like this. That tavern sign, for instance.
That's true.
Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. Do you mind if we look around?
Nope, not at all. You looking for anything in particular?
Oh, no, not really. Possibly some dishes. Do you have any white ironstone?
Nope, I'm afraid not.
It doesn't matter. Oh, that's a rather nice painting there.
A schooner? Yes, it is.
Oh, well, do you know anything about it?
Nope, except that it's American. Early 19th century.
John, look at this.
What? Oh, yes. Did you say early 19th century?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'd say it wasn't more than 20 years old. A copy of something earlier.
Why do you say that?
Because of the condition of the canvas and the varnish.
You a dealer?
No, I'm a painter.
Oh, well, you may be right.
I'm sure I am. Oh, hello.
Oh, have you found something?
Yes. Can you tell us anything about this?
Oh, a glass paperweight?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. At least I think so.
What do you think of it, Sarah?
No, it's interesting.
Yes, it is. Especially when you hold it up to the light. When you turn the ball, it moves. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Neither have I. Paul would probably know what it is.
He might. How much do you want for it?
$5.
Well, what do you say, Sarah? Shall we buy it?
Oh, I don't know, John. It just looks like a glass ball to me.
Well, I like it. I like looking at it.
Yes, but $5 for something that may be nothing at all.
Well, why do you say it's nothing when I say I like it?
Well, because $5 is a lot of money. For us, anyway.
You don't have to rub it in.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I just meant...
I know what you meant.
If you really want it, you can have it for $3.
I do want it. I'll take it.
John.
I said I'll take it.
Hello? Anybody home?
Is that you, Paul?
Yes.
I'll be right down. Hi.
Hello, Sarah.
Well, what's all this?
Oh, my brother sent me a case of fruit from Florida, and I thought you and John might like some.
That's awfully nice of you, Paul.
No, not really. I'd never finish it all by myself.
Well, I still think it's very nice of you. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. Where's John?
In the studio.
Oh, how is he?
Oh, about the same. Not very good.
Still not working, huh?
No. He's trying. He goes in there every day.
Well, it's happened to almost every painter at some time or another. You hit a bad period, just can't seem to do anything.
He's been...
Oh, Paul. I thought I heard your voice. How are you?
Fine, John. And you?
Okay. Where'd all this fruit come from?
Paul brought it over.
My brother sent me a whole case of it, and I thought you might like some.
Oh, it's very nice of you. I was hoping you'd stop by. There's something I wanted to show you, ask you about.
Oh, what's that?
This glass ball.
Oh, where'd you get it?
In a crummy little antique shop in Preston.
Oh, yes, I know the place.
The guy said it was a paperweight.
Well, it can't be. It doesn't have a base. It isn't even flat on one side.
Well, that's what I thought. What do you think it is, then?
I have no idea. The only thing I've ever seen that's even vaguely like this are witch balls.
Witch balls?
Yeah, you sometimes find them down in Pennsylvania. They're like hex signs, supposed to keep witches away.
Oh, yes.
It's a very interesting thing. Beautiful piece of glass blowing.
Yes, isn't it? Take it over the light and look at it more closely. There's something inside it. Kind of shadow.
Oh? I don't see anything.
Well, hold it up. Turn it.
Oh, you mean that kind of a swirl?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just an air bubble or maybe an imperfection in the glass.
I don't. I think there's something inside it that the glass was blown around it. Here, give it to me.
Oh, John.
It slipped out of my hands.
Well, it didn't break. Did it crack?
No. Look at that. Dropped on the fireplace, and there's not a mark or a scratch on it.
Well, that's impossible.
Well, look at it.
Well, you're right. I've never seen anything like it. It can't be ordinary glass. I'll tell you what, John. I've got a friend who's an expert. Collects paperweights. If you like, I'll take it and show it to him.
No. It's not leaving this house.
John.
Well, I just thought that...
I say it's not leaving this house.
All right, John.
I'm going back inside. I'll see you, Paul.
Yes, John. Well, he really has a thing about it, hasn't he?
Yes.
And when did he get it?
Oh, just yesterday. I don't like it.
Why not?
I don't know. I just have a funny feeling about it. I have had from the first time I saw it.
John, can you hear me?
What?
You can hear me. I know you can. I knew it the first time you picked me up. Because you were the only one who could see me.
Yes.
You've got to help me. Save me.
How?
Break the ball and free me.
Break?
Yes, if you do, you won't be sorry. I'll do things for you. Wonderful things.
But how can I break it? I dropped it, and it didn't even crack.
Fire and water, John. Fire and water.
I don't understand.
You will. I know you will. I know you'll help
Hello, Paul.
Sarah, can I come in for a few minutes?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, how are you?
A little down at the moment.
Why?
I just got some rather upsetting news. That's why I came over.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. What's the news?
Well, it'll affect you and John more than it does anyone else. You know those rumors that Ezra Tate was going to sell that 200-acre parcel of his to a developer? Well, apparently they're true.
Oh, no. But how do you know?
Well, I was just at the bank and Peterson told me.
Well, that's certainly not good, that Ezra is going to sell. But that doesn't mean that they can go ahead and build there. Well, they'd have to get the approval of the zoning board.
Have you forgotten that Harry Walker, the board chairman, is his nephew?
Yeah, but he wouldn't dare. You mean you think it really may go through?
I'm afraid so.
Oh, but that's awful. You know, we bought this place, put every cent we have into it, mostly because of the location and the view, and if the deal does go through, that will be the end of it.
I know.
And that's not all. I wouldn't want to go on living here with a development right under our noses, and I don't think anyone else would want to either.
Well, I'm afraid you'd take a bad licking if you tried to sell the place.
Well, don't say anything about it to John until we really do know what's going to happen. He hates Ezra Tate as it is, and when he hears about this...
That's right. He has had a bit of trouble with him, hasn't he?
Oh, from the day we moved in here. First about the boundary line, and then about...
Sarah, do you... Oh. Oh. Hello. I didn't know you were here.
I was just passing by, and I thought I'd drop in.
I'm glad you did. As a matter of fact, I was going to call you.
Oh, about what?
You know that glass ball I showed you yesterday?
Well, yes, of course.
If you wanted to break it, really break it, how'd you go about it?
Well, why on earth would you want to break it? It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yes, it is. But suppose I did want to break it.
I really don't know, John.
Can you think of any way it can be done with fire and water?
Fire and water?
Yes.
Well, I suppose if you put it in a fire and got it very hot, or close to its melting point, and then dropped it into cold water, that might do it.
Of course. Thanks, Paul.
John, wait. You mean you're really going to...
Yes.
Why?
Because I've got to. I got a feeling that if I do break it, can break it.
What?
Never mind. I'll see you, Paul.
Don't look that way, Sarah. I know it doesn't make sense, but after all, there's no harm in it.
I'm not so sure about that.
Why do you say that?
I told you, I had a funny feeling about the thing from the first time I saw it.
Well, if he does break it, destroy it, that will be the end of it.
I wonder. John?
Yes.
Why have you got the door locked?
I didn't realize I had. Hi.
Oh, may I come in?
Of course.
Oh, it's awfully hot in here.
I know, it's the fire.
Oh, yes. Then you're really going to do it?
Yes. I've had the ball on the fire for about a half hour now. I was just about to take it out.
Darling, I don't like this.
I know you don't. What'd I do with the tongs?
Over there.
Oh, yes. Now, stand back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it out.
And drop it in the pail of water?
Yes. Come on now. There we are.
Darling, be careful.
I will. You ready?
Yes.
Here goes. Wow. I really think I did it.
What happened to the ball?
Well, see for yourself. It practically exploded into 100 pieces.
Oh, yes. Well, are you satisfied now?
Yes. Now, wait a minute. Look at this. This is what was inside it. Its center.
Another ball. A small black one.
Yes, but it wasn't black before.
Oh, the heat must have turned it black. Oh, what are you going to do with it?
Keep it.
Why?
Just so. Now stop looking so upset, Sarah. Things are going to be different now.
What do you mean?
Well, you'll see. Everything's going to be fine. Better than they've ever been before.
With the help of fire and water, the mysterious glass ball has been broken. And though he should know better, John Farrar seems pleased about it. For there are some things that it is best to leave alone. Was he right in thinking there was something sealed in the ball? Will it give him the things he wants? And if so, at what cost? We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 2.
This time, 10:51. Temperature in Chicago, 37 degrees at the lakefront. O'Hare has a reading of 36. At Midway, the official reading is 35. The humidity, 82%. The wind is north at 15 miles per hour.
Dusk is a time of uncertainty. And though she could not have said why, Sarah Farrar was not just uncertain, but anxious as she stood beside her husband and saw the glass ball shatter. But now she's beginning to feel that perhaps she was mistaken. For when John woke this morning, he was in better spirits than he has been for months. He went into his studio early and has been in there all day. It's evening now, almost supper time, and he still has not come out.
Yes?
Darling, it's almost 6 o'clock, and I wondered...
It's what?
Almost 6 o'clock.
You're kidding. It can't be.
But it is.
Oh, good Lord. I had no idea. I kept thinking while I had it, I'd stay with it. Keep on going for just a little while longer.
You mean you've been working?
Have I ever?
Oh, can I look?
Of course. It's not quite finished. I want to do a little more with the background, but, what do you think?
Oh, darling, it's good. It's terribly good.
You really think so?
Oh, yes. It's the best thing you've ever done. In some ways, it's like summer morning, but different, stronger.
You're right. It is something like summer morning, and it is different, but, well, it would have to be, because I'm suddenly seeing everything differently. Feeling differently. It's as if I'd been handcuffed for months and I was suddenly free.
Oh, darling, I'm so glad.
Oh, 6 o'clock. No wonder I'm starving.
But didn't you have any lunch? I went out around noon.
No, I forgot about it. What's for supper?
Oh, beef stew.
Oh, good. And wine?
Well, there's that bottle we were saving for a special occasion.
I think this is it, don't you?
Oh, I certainly do. Oh, darling, why don't you wash up and... Oh, I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Sarah.
Oh, Paul, hello.
Well, you sound pretty good.
Oh, I feel that way. John finally broke through, and he's working. Working beautifully.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, you don't sound so good. Is anything wrong?
I'm afraid so. I just heard that the deal on Ezra Tate's land is definitely going through. The closing's tomorrow.
Oh, no. And there's no way of stopping it?
None that I know of.
Oh, then I guess I'll have to tell John.
Tell me what?
Are you going to do it now?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
So am I, but it can't be helped. Goodbye, Paul.
What was that all about?
Oh, some rather bad news. Darling, you know that talk that Ezra Tate was going to sell the 200 acres across the road to a developer?
Yes.
Well, apparently it's true.
What? It can't be.
I'm afraid it is, John. The closing's tomorrow.
But he can't do anything like that. It'd ruin the town. And not just the town. We couldn't go on living here with a couple of hundred ticky-tacky houses right across the road.
I know. But I'm afraid nothing can be done about it.
No? Well, we'll see about that.
John, where are you going?
To talk to him.
No, John, wait! Don't! Wait!
Ezra Tate.
Who's that? Who's there?
John Farrar.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you.
Well, you can't right now. I'm eating supper.
Oh, damn it all, Ezra. It's important.
Okay, just a second. Now, what is all this?
Is what I heard true? That you're selling the land across the road from us to a developer?
It sure is.
But you can't do that.
Says who? It's my land. I can sell it to anyone I want.
Haven't you any feeling at all for anyone else? Don't you realize what it'll do, not just to me, my place, but the whole town? It can't take another couple of hundred people.
The deal's set, and that's that.
But can't you see? Okay, how much are they offering you for it?
Why do you want to know?
Because I'll buy it from you. I'll give you a couple of thousand over their price.
What? That's really funny.
What's funny about it?
Yeah, it just is. You haven't got a dime. You owe everyone in town money, and you want to buy...
Never mind about that. I'll get it somewhere.
Yeah? Where? From your friend Paul Chandler?
What's the deal where I get it?
I'd like to know, that's all. Just because he's got a thing about your wife, comes around with fruit and groceries for you, I imagine... You keep away from me, Farrar. You think I'd let you in here without precautions? This gun's loaded. Come any closer and I'll let you have a load of bird shots.
For 2 cents?
2 cents is just about what you can afford. Now, you get out of here.
Okay. But this isn't the end of it, Ezra.
Oh, John, thank heaven you're back. I was afraid. Well, what happened?
He laughed at me.
Oh, you should have known he would. He's a dreadful old man.
He's a monster. He doesn't give a damn about anyone or anything. I'd like to see him drop dead.
John!
Well, I would. Though just dropping dead would be too good for him. I'd like to have something really terrible happen to him.
Just a second.
Good morning. Mrs. Farrar?
Yes?
My name's Osborne. Sergeant Osborne, State Police.
Oh, how do you do?
Is your husband around?
Yes, he's in his studio.
Could I talk to him for a few minutes?
Well, he's working, but I think so. Come in.
Thank you.
Yes?
John, could you come out here for a minute?
Okay. What's up?
Oh, darling, this is Sergeant Osborne of the State Police.
Oh. Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning, Mr. Farrar. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I wondered if you could help us.
With what, Sergeant?
Were you home last night?
Yes, we were. We're here most nights.
What time did you get to bed?
Fairly early. About 10.
Yes, that's right.
And did you get up for any reason, or did you sleep right through the night?
Well, we slept straight through. At least I did. Why?
I was hoping that maybe you'd gotten up. That you could tell me if you heard or saw anything unusual. A car going up the road to Ezra Tate's place, for instance.
Well, I didn't. Did you, Sarah?
No. We'd had a big day, and I slept like a log.
You know Tate, don't you?
Yeah, we sure do.
I take it you don't like him very much.
Well, that's the understatement of the year. We've had nothing but trouble with him since we moved up here.
Sergeant, what's this all about? Has there been any trouble at his place?
I guess you could call it trouble. He was killed last night.
He was what?
Killed. Murdered. His nephew went over there early this morning and found him.
Oh, but that's awful. I thought he was a dreadful man, but... Have you any idea who did it?
Not yet. That's why I stopped by here to find out if you'd seen or heard anything.
Well, I'm sorry. I wish we could help you, but... Well, How was he killed?
It was pretty bad. Whoever did it must have really hated him or else been out of his mind. Because it was done with an axe.
No, that's not a nice way to kill someone, not at all. And whoever or whatever did it didn't waste very much time. For it was only last night that John Farrar said, "I'd like to see something really terrible happen to him." And what did happen was horrible enough to shock even him. The question is, was it a coincidence, or is there more to it than that? Could it have something to do with the shattering of the glass ball? We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago.
There is a finality to death. Even the death of the unloved and unmourned, that we all find sobering, for it reminds us of our own mortality. It's late afternoon now, and Sarah Farrar is in the kitchen of the old farmhouse when a car drives up, stops outside. She goes to the door, opens it.
Oh. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
Well, I've been better.
I gather you heard the news then.
About Ezra? Yes.
Who'd you hear it from?
The state police. One of them stopped by this morning. He wanted to know whether John or I had heard or seen anything last night.
And had you?
No. We were both pretty tired. John had been working like a maniac all day, and we slept right through.
I see. How's John?
Well, of course he's upset. It's a scary thing when something like that happens so close by, and you don't know who did it or why. But he'll get over it.
I hope so. I've been worried about him.
Why?
Well, he certainly wasn't in very good shape the other day. That whole involvement of his with that glass ball.
Oh, that. I was pretty worried about that myself, but, well, once he broke it and snapped his painting block, it started working.
Well, he really feels there was some connection there.
Apparently.
Well, as long as he's working. I take it he still is.
Oh, yes. Yes, he finished one painting. He's already started on another.
Oh, good. The reason I stopped by was because I wanted to find out if the two of you were free Friday night.
Oh, yes, we are.
Then would you come over for dinner? Benson of the Benson Gallery is coming up from New York. And if John is working again, I thought he ought to meet him.
Oh, Paul. You really are a very good friend.
Oh, come on, Sarah. You know how I feel about you. Both of you. You've had a pretty rough time since you moved up here, and if I've done anything to help...
Oh, Paul, hello.
Hi.
I didn't hear your car. You been here long?
No, just a few minutes.
Oh, Paul stopped by to invite us over for dinner Friday night. Benson of the Benson Gallery is going to be there.
Oh, that's nice. What do you think of our big local news?
Ezra Tate's death? That's pretty shocking.
Yes, it is. On the other hand, it did take care of a pretty serious problem for us.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, now that he's gone, that's the end of that housing development.
I'm afraid it isn't, John.
Well, why not?
His nephew is his only living relative. He'll inherit everything Ezra had, including his land, and he's already telling people he intends to go through with the deal.
What? Well, he can't do that. He's head of the town zoning board.
Yes, he is, but he was willing to push the thing through when it meant money in his uncle's pocket. Don't you think he'll be even more anxious to do it when it means money in his own?
But that's even worse.
Well, a little more direct and obvious, but no worse.
And nothing can be done about it?
I'm afraid not. The zoning board is his baby. Does just what he says.
Wow. It would serve him right if the same thing happened to him that happened to Ezra.
John, that's a terrible thing to say.
Is it? I don't like violence any more than you do, Sarah, but when a man is willing to destroy a whole community out of sheer greed, I say the world's better off without him.
John? Oh, you are in here.
Oh, yes, of course I am. Why?
Well, I couldn't imagine what had happened to you. You said you were going into work for just a half hour or so.
That's right. What time is it?
It's almost 11.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
I must have fallen asleep again. I worked for a while and started feeling tired and sat down here.
Well, you've really been at it these last few days.
I guess I have.
John, why are you keeping this thing here?
What thing?
This black thing that was in the center of the glass bowl.
I told you I was going to keep it.
But why?
Because I like it. I like looking at it.
What? Was that what you were doing before you fell asleep?
Yes.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't. I wish you'd get rid of it.
Oh, don't be silly, Sarah. The day I found the ball, or rather the day I broke it open, was one of the most important days of my life. Hasn't everything been different since then?
Well, if you mean you've been working well, yes, but I...
But what?
Oh, never mind. Are you coming up to bed now?
I guess so. Just let me clean my brushes and put them away. Oh, who on earth is that?
I have no idea. I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Sarah. Did I wake you?
No, Paul. I was upstairs reading. I just came down to see what was keeping John.
Is he there with you?
Oh, he's in the studio. Why?
Well, I wasn't sure whether I should call or not, but I finally decided I would. Sarah, I've got some more news that's just as shocking as the last. Harry Walker was killed tonight.
What? Where? And how?
In his home. His wife was out, came back, and found him dead in the kitchen.
Oh, no. And they don't know who did it?
Not any more than they do who killed Ezra.
Hi.
Oh, good morning, darling. I couldn't decide whether to wake you or let you sleep.
Oh, I haven't been asleep for some time. I'm just lying there thinking.
I know, but I thought you might doze off. You didn't sleep much last night.
No.
Well, how about some breakfast?
I don't want any.
John, you should eat something.
I can't. I feel awful.
Because of what you said when Paul was here about how Harry Walker deserved to die too?
Partly.
Well, you shouldn't. All right, it was a horrible thing to say, but you were angry, upset.
Yes, I was, but don't you realize that the same thing happened before with Ezra? I said I hoped something terrible would happen to him, and it did.
Yes, it did, but we often say things we don't really mean.
But I did mean it. I meant it both times. That's what makes it so frightening.
Why frightening? Look, you don't think that just saying it had anything to do with their deaths, do you?
Yes, I do.
John!
Well, I do. Do you remember what I told you about the glass ball?
That there was something in it?
Yes. What if there was? And what if, when I released it, it began doing things for me in return?
Oh, John, that's ridiculous. It was just a glass ball.
Was it? I told you that I had to break it, that it was very important. And it was right after I did that I started working again.
But that could have happened anyway.
Maybe. But then twice after that, when I said I hoped something would happen to someone, it did.
That was just a coincidence.
When the same thing happens twice in the same way, it's not a coincidence. But that's not the worst of it. What if the same thing happens still again?
Oh, John. John, that's insane. Things don't happen just because we want them to. There's no connection between what happened to either Ezra or Harry Walker. And even if there were, how could the same thing happen again? You don't feel the same way about anyone else.
Don't I?
Who?
You've no idea?
No. We don't know that many people up here. You don't mean Paul?
Yes. Good old Paul, who's always doing things for us. Only it hasn't been for us. It's been for you. He's in love with you, isn't he?
Oh, John. John, this is terrible. I've been concerned about you, worried about you for some time, but I never realized you really are sick.
Are you saying it's not true?
Of course it's not true. He's just a friend, a good friend.
I wish I could believe you.
Meaning you don't?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
But there's nothing to think about. I tell you, John, where are you going? John, wait a minute, you can't! John!
Hello?
Oh, Paul, it's me again. Any sign of him?
No, Sarah.
But it's been over 2 hours.
Well, you said he didn't take the car. If he walked, it would take him some time to get over here.
Not this long, Paul. I'm scared. I told you what he said.
I know, but I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. The longer he has to think about, the more chance there is that he'll realize it's ridiculous.
But suppose it's just the opposite. Suppose...
Now, don't do that, Sarah. I'm not worried. I hope he does come here. I told you there's something I want to tell him.
What?
I don't want to go into it now, but I think it may make a difference. Help him.
All right, but if he does come to your place, will you call me? Let me know.
Of course, Sarah.
Thank you, Paul.
A friend, she said. Just a good friend. Can I believe her? He's been there all the time, whenever we needed him. No, not just when we needed him. Whenever he could do anything to help. Why? There's only one way to find out.
Hello, John. I've been expecting you.
Have you?
Yes, Sarah called. Twice, as a matter of fact. And said you might be coming over here. Come on in.
Thanks.
Can I get you something? Some coffee or a drink?
No.
Well, sit down. There's something I want to tell you.
About you and Sarah?
What? What could I tell you about that?
How you feel about her?
I feel the same way about her that I do about you. I like you both very much. What I wanted to talk to you about was that glass ball.
What about it?
Well, I'm afraid I was the one who got you started on it, saying it was something like a Pennsylvania Dutch witch ball. Well, I was wrong. There was nothing strange or mysterious about it. It wasn't even old. It was made 7 or 8 years ago by the New England Glass Company.
That's impossible. How do you know that?
Because I called a friend of mine, the man I wanted to show it to, and he told me. The company was trying to develop a new kind of glass, practically unbreakable and impervious to heat. They did it by bonding 2 kinds of glass together, and the ball was one of their samples.
That's not true. It's a lie. You don't just want to take Sarah away from me. You want to take that away, too. The feeling that breaking it just gave me, the freedom, the sense of power. When you're not going to.
John, put down that poker.
Now.
John, put it down. I'm not finished yet. I'm not denying that something happened to you after you bought it, but I think I can explain that, too. Now, look, when you brought it home, you used to sit and stare into it, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, don't you see what could have happened? When you stare into something clear or shiny, you can hypnotize yourself. But in your case, the self-hypnosis took a special form. You started identifying with it. And when you finally broke it, you released something. Not in the ball, but in yourself.
Released what? Lies? Everything you've been saying has been a lie?
It hasn't, John. It's been the truth, John. Keep away from me.
No, I came over here to find something out, and I have. You're no friend of mine. You never were.
John.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Well, don't open the door.
John, now stop that. Whoever it is must know we're here. I've got to.
Paul, I'm warning you. Don't...
Mr. Chandler? Yes?
I'm Osborne, State Police. Is Mr. Farrar... Oh, yes, I see he is. Good morning, Mr. Farrar. Your wife said she thought you might be here.
My wife?
Yes, we stopped by at your place first. Mr. Farrar, would you come with me?
Where?
To headquarters. We'd like to talk to you.
About what?
Several things, but mostly about where you were last night about 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock? But that was...
That was what?
About when Harry Walker was murdered.
How do you know that?
Because Paul called us shortly after that and told us. You're all against me. Not just my wife and Paul, but everyone. Plotting against me.
No one's against you, Mr. Farrar, and we're certainly not plotting against you. We just want to talk to you and...
No!
Farrar, stop! Come back here, Farrar!
Aren't you going after him?
Oh, we'll catch up to him. I have another car and 2 more men out on the road there, just around the curve.
Why did you want to talk to him?
Well, someone saw him leaving Harry Walker's house last night, shortly before Mrs. Walker came home.
Oh.
We just got a general description. Weren't sure who it was at first, but... Farrar, look out! That truck!
John! Oh, good Lord.
Seek, and you shall find. John Farrar came to his friend's house seeking what? The truth, he tried to tell himself. But the truth was exactly what he did not want to hear. Not when it stripped away his illusions and did not confirm his jealous imaginings. And so he found what we find so often when we reject the truth and everything else of value. Death. I'll be back shortly. Now we see through a glass darkly, says the Bible. That was what John Farrar was doing, seeing something in the strange glass ball that wasn't there. But he wasn't completely wrong. At least it wasn't all imaginary. For as his friend Paul said, there was a thing inside. Not inside the glass ball, but inside John himself that never should have been tampered with. Our cast included Ralph Bell, Bryna Raeburn, Bob Kaliban, and Leon Janney. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Here, darling, take a pill.
Oh. Thank you, darling. And now go back to sleep.
Well, I better reset the alarm.
You're so good to me, George.
There it is. I've set it for 4. Good night, darling.
Good night.
I turned to look at her. Her eyes were closed. She was only 28, but her face was lined, and she looked old. Old. Where was the pert, vivacious Margaret who only a few months before had been bursting with life? Wasn't she as good or as bad as dead already? Wasn't it a mercy to end her suffering? Suppose I would somehow forget to give her the next pill. What would I be ending?
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal, and by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. I'm E.G. Marshall, bidding you welcome to the sound of suspense. Welcome to the fear you can hear. Welcome to the world of mystery. This is a tale of young love. The love of a charming young man for a charming young girl. It is also the story of a mother's love for her child. As you can see, this story is positively dripping with love. But don't be dismayed, because love, like a door, has two sides. And when the other side is hatred, it can drip with venom and gore.
You're a liar, Mr. Snowden. Don't you think I know what you are?
You're wrong, Mrs. Daniels. I love your daughter.
Why?
Because I do, that's all. You can't explain something like that.
Listen to me, young man. Even her own father couldn't bear to look at Bonnie's face. That's why he left her so much money, because he felt guilty for what he felt for his own poor, homely daughter.
Mrs. Daniels, listen to me.
You're a liar, and a thief.
Our mystery drama, The Locked Room, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Henry Slesar and stars Jack Grimes and Corinne Orr. It is sponsored in part by new sugar-free Diet 7-Up and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act One. We're on a lonely highway that winds its way into the hilly regions upstate. The hour is late, and the sleek white sports car whose hood ornament faces north is the only vehicle for miles around. Even the sound of its purring engine doesn't seem to disturb the quiet of the countryside. But inside the car, the sound level is something very different.
Davy, please, turn that down before I go deaf.
Oh, what's the matter? Don't you like music?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to save my hearing.
Okay. There, is that any better?
Much.
Hey, how much longer is this going to take? You said it was only 30 miles or so to the house, and we must have driven 50.
We have not. You're not watching the mileage.
Listen, there are so many gadgets on this dashboard, I wouldn't even know where the speedometer is.
But you do like the car, don't you?
Like it? Hey, Bonnie, do you know what I've been used to driving all my life? Second-hand pickup trucks. That's about all our folks could afford.
I hated this car at first when Mother gave it to me. I mean, she must have thought it was what every young girl wanted on her 17th birthday. But the truth is, I was scared stiff of it.
Well, why should you be?
I don't know. Just was. It always felt like it was running away with me.
Ah, but now you're running away with it. And me.
Oh, don't put it that way. I don't feel we're running away, Davy.
Oh, of course not, kidding. It was just a figure of speech.
Davy, look! We're almost there! Oh, there's the old red barn I told you about.
Hey, great. Do I make a right here?
Yeah, a sharp right. And then straight up the hill until you come to the sign. If it's still there.
When was the last time you were here, anyway?
About 10 years?
No kidding.
Yeah, that's right. I was only 8 when we left.
Oh.
Davy, there it is. You can see the chimneys.
Oh, wow. How many chimneys does the house have?
It seems like hundreds. There was a fireplace in every room except the bathroom. Wait till you see it, Davy. Oh, just wait. Well, there it is. What do you think?
Now, that's what I call a real funky old house. How big is that place?
It has 4 floors and I guess about 30 or 40 rooms. I never counted them.
All those rooms and nobody living in them?
I know. It does seem like a terrible waste, doesn't it?
Oh, Bonnie, you're speaking to one-room Davy Snowden, remember? The only place I lived in my whole life with more than 1 room was the farmhouse. Yeah, well, that had 3.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't keep talking about that. I mean, you know, how poor you were.
Okay, kitten. Rich little girls get to feeling guilty when they hear stuff like that. Look, let's not sit out in the car all night, huh? Let's go look at that old haunted house.
It is not a haunted house.
You sure you got the key now?
Yeah, right here in my purse.
And the lights are working?
I told you, we rent the place every summer. We have to keep the electricity turned on.
Well, let's go then.
light switch right near the door. Yeah, here it is. There.
Look at the size of this place.
I know, it's a terrible old barn of a place. That's what my father called it. When he died, well, Mother just thought it was foolish, the two of us living here all by ourselves.
Looks kind of run down.
I'm afraid it is. But the foundation is still solid.
Well, there's plenty of furniture. Hey, come on, show me the rest of the house, huh?
What would you like to see first?
Well, upstairs. That's where the bedrooms are, right?
Yes.
Well, that's the first thing we have to do. Decide which bedroom we want.
Oh, Davy.
Do you love me, Bonnie?
Oh, you know I do.
Say it.
I love you.
Say, I love you, Davy.
I love you, Davy.
Well, in that case, let's pick out the bedroom. How many choices do we have?
At least 10.
Oh, might take us all night. Come on. No, I don't like the look of that one. It's too gloomy.
That was my mother's room.
You mean your folks had their own room?
That's right.
Well, maybe that's how they do things when you're rich. But me, I'm just a country boy. Now, let's see about this door. Hey, this one's stuck.
No, it's locked. It's always been locked.
Well, what for?
I don't know.
Well, what's behind it? Another bedroom?
Honestly, I don't have the faintest idea. It's been locked ever since I can remember. Daddy once told me never to go near this room. I once remember my mother talking about it, sort of nervously.
Oh, that sounds very mysterious. What do you say we break it in, huh?
Oh, Davy, no, we can't do that.
Well, gee, aren't you curious? Maybe it's full of hanging women, like in Bluebeard's castle. Or maybe that's where the family jewels are hidden.
Oh, let's leave it alone, Davy. I was always scared of that door.
Yeah, but what's it locked for? Seems to me when a door is locked, that means there's something pretty interesting behind it. Stands to reason, right?
Well, I'm sure it's just some old storeroom or something.
Bonnie, listen, there could be something valuable in there, something worth money. And since the house is yours, I mean, this is your house, isn't it? Your father left it to you, didn't he?
Yes.
Well, if there's anything valuable in there, it belongs to you.
Oh, Davy, all those promises not to talk about money.
I'm not talking about your mother's money. I'm talking about what's yours, rightfully yours.
But the house isn't really mine. Not yet. Not until I'm 21, and that's almost 4 years from now.
Now, don't be technical.
Oh, Davy.
Okay, if that's how you feel about it. We got plenty of time anyway.
Davy, remember what you said about the fire?
It's getting late, Bonnie. Don't you think we should be in bed?
Couldn't we have a fire first, please?
Sure. Anything you say. We want this night to be perfect, don't we? Yeah, I guess I am a little like that. Boastful about my poor childhood. As if it's a badge of honor or something. We didn't light fires because they were cozy and romantic, only because they made us warm. They're not very warm at that. Locked rooms. Yeah, that's really something, a locked room. The only room in our place that had a lock on it was the outhouse, and even that didn't work. Hey, you asleep? Hey, kitten, wake up. It's time to go to bed. Come on, Bonnie, wake up. Hey, what's that? For Pete's sake, there's a car outside. Hey, Bonnie, wake up. There's somebody coming up.
What?
We got company.
Oh, no.
Well, who is it?
Oh, Davy, it can't be. Yes. There's her car outside. You can see it through the window.
You mean it's a neighbor or something?
No, it's my mother.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I have to let her in. She knows I'm here. She saw my car outside.
Well, I'm surprised you two aren't in bed already. That was the general idea, wasn't it?
Mother, please, let me explain.
I suppose you're David Snowden.
Yes, I am, Mrs. Daniels.
I see we have no trouble recognizing each other. Bonnie, fix your clothes. They're a mess.
I was just lying on the rug in front of the fireplace.
Yes, I've heard all about you, Mr. Snowden. Thank goodness I had the sense to think of this place when Bonnie didn't show up at home.
You have it all wrong, Mother. Davy, tell her.
Mrs. Daniels.
Never mind. I understand everything. I was afraid something like this might happen as soon as Bonnie started mentioning you in her letters from school. Bonnie, get your things. We're going home.
Mrs. Daniels, listen to me.
Sorry to break up your party, young man.
We're married, Mrs. Daniels.
What did you say?
Bonnie and I were married this afternoon. I've got the license right here.
It's true, Mother. We were married in Elkton.
That can't be. You're underage.
Not in Elkton, Mother. 18 is old enough. Davy and I are married, so you can't tell us what to do.
For the love of heaven. I think I have to sit down.
Oh, well, here, Mrs. Daniels. I'll just get the sheet off this chair
Mother,
here.
Please try to understand.
I understand, Bonnie. I went through a dozen Davies when I was your age. Oh, Bonnie. Oh, my poor Bonnie.
Well, now, you don't have to feel sorry for her, Mrs. Daniels.
Don't I?
No, because I love her.
I suppose you have no money.
Mother!
Be quiet.
No, Mrs. Daniels. My family were farm people. My father's dead, my mother's alive, but I don't even know where. But you don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Daniels. I didn't marry your daughter because of money.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't. Bonnie and I talked about it. I almost didn't marry her because of that, because of what people like you would say.
You're a liar, Mr. Snowden. Don't you think I know what you are?
You're wrong, Mrs. Daniels. I love your daughter.
Why?
Because I do, that's all. You can't explain something
Listen
like
to me,
that.
young man. Even her own father couldn't bear to look at Bonnie's face. That's why he left her so much money, because he felt guilty at what he felt for his own poor, homely daughter.
Oh, Mother, don't, please.
Mrs. Daniels, listen to me.
You're a liar. A liar. And a thief.
Stop it. Stop
You've got
it.
a smooth tongue, Mr. Snowden. A handsome face and a smooth tongue. And I'm sure you've convinced my daughter that you're utterly sincere. But it's only her heart you want to steal, not her fortune.
I love Bonnie. That's all there is to it. We're married, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You're quite wrong. There's everything in the world I can do about it. I intend to have this marriage annulled immediately.
You can't do that.
You have no idea how much money can do, young man. Bonnie, I'm going home now, and I want you to come with me.
No, I
Don't
won't.
make it any worse than it is now.
I won't go with you.
You see how it is, Mrs. Daniels?
Yes. I see how it is. Very well, Bonnie. But you'll regret this. Mark my word.
Mother, I can't live without Davy. If you make us separate, I'll never forgive you.
You will, darling. Strangely enough.
I'll kill myself. Do you hear, Mother? I'll kill myself if you do this.
Now, don't talk nonsense. You think your heart will break. But it won't. A heart doesn't break. It withers. That's what I don't want you to find out. Goodbye, Bonnie.
I mean it. I'll kill myself. Oh, Davy.
As Shakespeare informed us, the course of true love never did go smooth. And perhaps the same applies to the course of untrue love. But let's not judge the sincerity of young Davy Snowden just yet. Let's wait and see what happens next to the newlyweds when we return shortly with Act 2.
WBBM News Time, 10:50.
Now let's return to the locked room. The door we're looking at right now isn't the door to the old Daniels mansion upstate. This door is reached by walking up several long flights of stairs before you can read the faded numerals 4G.
Are we there, Davy?
Yeah, honey, here we are. Hey, you're wounded pretty bad.
No, I'm all right. I warned you that I'm not very strong.
And I warned you that a fourth-floor walk-up is no fun.
We don't have anywhere else to go, Davy.
Yeah, I know that, all right. Well, brace yourself. Here's the Snowden residence. I suppose I should carry you over the threshold. Well, come on in. Don't just stare at it.
It's, not at all bad, Davy. Really.
No, you don't have to say that. Don't say anything except I love you. That's always nice to hear.
You know that I love you, Davy.
Then close the door and show me.
Oh, Davy. Davy, I'm so worried.
Yeah, I knew that my room would affect you that way.
I don't care about the room. Anywhere is all right if I'm with you. We'll get along. And then I'll have the money my father left me.
Yeah, and 3 years, if you survive that long.
I'm sure my mother will change her mind about us. I'm sure of it. As soon as she gets to know you.
Oh, Bonnie, couldn't you tell? It was hate at first sight. She took one look at me, and it was hate killed.
Davy, do you think she can really do what she said? Get our marriage annulled?
I don't know. It was a legal marriage. I mean, you didn't need parental consent in that state.
But she's so smart about such things. She's run my father's company since he died. She has all these lawyers on her payroll.
Stop worrying about it, Bonnie.
But what if she could do it? I couldn't stand that, Davy.
Stop worrying, I said. You got one thing going for you, kitten, and that makes all the difference in the world. Your mother loves you. She wouldn't hurt you for anything.
Davy, tell me the truth. Do you think I'm homely?
I think you're beautiful.
Oh, I know that isn't true, but I'm not really repulsive, am I?
Are you kidding? Come here.
Oh, Davy, it's true about my father. I know that. He was so disappointed that I wasn't pretty.
He must have needed glasses. Who's that? Nobody even knows I'm here. Hello?
Is this Mr. David Snowden?
Yeah, that's right. Who's this?
My name is Hedinger, Mr. Snowden. I'm an attorney, Hedinger and Doles. We're on Vanderbilt Street.
Yeah, so?
One of my clients is Mrs. Harriet Daniels. I'm sure the name is familiar to you.
Yes, I've heard of her.
I was wondering if we couldn't get together to discuss a certain matter regarding her daughter, Bonnie.
You mean my wife, Bonnie?
Who is it, Davy?
Yes, that's right. I wonder if it would be convenient for you to come to my office sometime this afternoon.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Hedinger, but Mrs. Snowden and myself are a little busy at the moment.
Well, what about tomorrow, then? Would that be possible?
Is it my mother's lawyer?
Yeah, one of them anyway.
I beg your pardon?
All right, Mr. Hedinger. I'll come to your office tomorrow. Say about 10 o'clock?
That would be just fine. The address is 50 Vanderbilt. We're on the 21st floor.
I'll be there. Well, it looks like the fun is starting.
Oh, Davy.
Please sit down, Mr. Snowden. I think you know the situation as well as I do, and you've probably anticipated my first question.
Well, I'm not sure I have, unless it's, why don't I just go away and stop bothering her daughter?
It's something like that. But it would be hardly sensible to expect you to do such a thing without incentive.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Don't tell me I'm about to get an offer, a money offer.
Nobody's talking about a bribe, I assure you. There's a practical reason for such an offer. Annulment proceedings, no matter how certain we are of success, cost money. Mrs. Daniels could actually realize quite a savings if you cooperated for some flat figure, say $5,000. Not unreasonable of her.
Do me a favor, huh? You tell Mrs. Daniels that I wouldn't give up my marriage license for $1 million.
I notice you specify $1 million.
So long, Mr. Hedinger.
Please sit down.
Huh?
That wasn't all I had to tell you.
Okay. What else is there?
We can sue for annulment on a few other bases.
Such as what?
Falsification of your marriage certificate, for instance.
Falsification? What the heck are you talking about?
Your age, for instance. You're not 24, Mr. Snowden. You happen to be 30.
Well, what's so important about that, for Pete's sake?
You gave your age as 24.
Well, so what? Everybody knocks a few years off their age at some time or other. It's just business.
Let's see. Your business is freight forwarding, isn't it?
You work in a 3-man company at a salary of $145 a week. Surely you didn't think it was necessary to dye your hair or anything like that for the sake of executive advancement.
Look, Mr. Hettinger, first of all, I'm 29, not 30.
I'm a few days premature, I suppose. You'll be 30 next week, won't you? Happy birthday in case I don't see you.
I just didn't want Bonnie to think I was too old for her.
Don't make everything so difficult, Mr. Snowden, because you know how it's going to end. Mrs. Daniels is the most determined woman you've ever met in your life. She scares the pants off me, I can tell you.
Oh, well, that's your problem.
If she has to spend $1 million to get Bonnie out of your clutches, she'll do it. I'll guarantee you $10,000 if you'll sign an agreement.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hettinger. No can do.
You're a stupid boy. Do you know that? Sorry, I take that back. A stupid man.
So long, Mr. Hettinger. Give my best to Bonnie's mother. And tell her we're both very happy.
Oh, Davy, it's horrible. We don't have a chance. I know we don't.
Well, it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
You should have told me the truth. You should have told me you were really 27.
What? I don't know. I just didn't want you to think that I was still an undergraduate at that age.
Oh, there's got to be some way out, Davy. There has to be. If you could just talk to her.
She won't give me the chance. She's made up her mind that all I want is your lousy money.
Well, what if there wasn't any money? What if I signed away the rights to the money my father left me? That would make her believe us, wouldn't it?
Well, that's pretty drastic, kitten. I mean, that money is yours. When you come of age, you're entitled to it.
But I don't care about money, Davy.
Well, you don't now, maybe, but later, I couldn't have you making that kind of sacrifice for me. Bonnie, you'd probably hate me for it later.
Oh, I could never hate you. I love you so much. I think I'll love you after I'm dead. Davy? Davy, what are you thinking?
Nothing.
Davy, you don't care about the money, do you? Please talk to me.
Bonnie, I have an idea. I have a very crazy, very good idea.
About what?
Well, I wouldn't blame you for not going through with it. I'd understand.
But what is it?
You remember what you said, what you told what you told your mother up at the house about your killing yourself?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, she didn't believe you, of course. What if your mother really thought you were serious about killing yourself? Wouldn't that make her change her mind in a hurry?
Well, yeah, I suppose it would, but we could never fool her about such a thing.
No. If we were smart, we could.
No, she's smarter than both of us put together. I know her, Davy. There's just no fooling her.
Wait a minute. Wait. Don't throw it away so fast. Let's talk about it. Let's think for a minute.
But it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, but if you really did try, Bonnie, only you didn't try too hard, only enough to make it look good.
Well, how can I do that?
There's a couple of ways. Gas, for instance. We could fix up a phony gas suicide. Bonnie, don't look like that.
I'm sorry.
All right, forget it. Forget I ever said it.
No, go on.
It could be something like, sleeping pills. You've got sleeping pills, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
What, you wouldn't have to take more than 2? Maybe 3. Now, that won't hurt at all, and we'd make her think you took the whole bottle. Now, don't you see how easy that'd be?
Yes, I suppose so. Oh, Davy, hold me, please.
Oh, kitten, you could write your mother a letter. You could tell her what you were planning to do, but that I don't know about it, see? You could say you were going to swallow the whole bottle of pills, but you'll actually take just a few. Then when your mother shows up here...
I'm so scared, Davy.
I promise you nothing will happen except that your mother will know that you meant it, Bonnie, about loving me so much. You do love me, don't you?
Yes, Davy. I do.
There's another famous saying about love, that it conquers all. Presumably, that includes time, distance, and mothers-in-law. But will love and deception succeed together? We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago, 31 degrees at 11:03.
Things seem very normal in apartment 4G, the one-room residence of the newlyweds, Bonnie and David Snowden. Music is playing on their transistor radio, a frozen dinner is thawing slowly, and Bonnie and David are hunched over the kitchen table, composing a letter. The only thing that makes this domestic scene a bit bizarre is that they are collaborating on a suicide note.
Dear Mother, I warned you what I would do if you tried to get our marriage annulled. Tonight, I'm going to take a whole bottle. Davy, do we have to have that music?
Okay. I didn't know it was bothering you.
I'm nervous enough as it is.
Okay, I said.
Dear Mother, I warned you what I would do if you tried to get our marriage annulled. Tonight, I'm going to take a whole bottle of sleeping pills. Oh, Davy, it just doesn't sound right.
It's not so bad, Bonnie. Look, maybe you better put in something about me not knowing about it. I think that's important, that your mother realizes that I had no idea you were going to try to take your life.
Well, maybe you better write it, Davy. I'm just no good at this sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess you don't have much experience writing suicide notes.
Well, I just can't help feeling it's wrong.
Wrong? What? How?
Well, you know.
No, I don't. The only thing that could be wrong about it is if it didn't work, but... Okay, if you've got cold feet, okay, we'll let your mother go through with it. We'll let that lawyer Hedinger get our marriage annulled. Is that what you want?
Well, you know it isn't.
And have you got a better idea than this, have you?
No.
Then tell me what you want to do, Bonnie. You name it.
Well, just tell me what to write in the letter.
Well, the first line is okay. Only after that, I think you should say, Davy doesn't know I'm doing this. I didn't want anyone to know so that nobody would stop me.
Wait a minute, not so fast.
Right, well, you don't have to put it down exactly the way I said it. Make it sound like yourself, you know.
Yeah, I'll try.
And, what else? Say something about, I'm doing this because I love Davy, because I can't live without him.
Yes.
Well, that'll make her understand. You see, she'll realize that you might try to kill yourself again if she broke us up. And if she loves you, she won't want that to happen, Bonnie. You see?
Yes.
Hey, come on. You're getting tears all over the letter.
Oh, Davy.
Go on, Bonnie. Now sign it. That's right. That's just perfect. Now, you got the envelope?
Here.
Okay, if I get it into the mail now, she'll have it tomorrow morning. Now, she's sure to phone here as soon as she receives it.
Davy, she might even call the police.
Well, it doesn't matter who she calls. Police, a doctor, it'll be okay. I mean, you'll really be asleep, Bonnie. You'll take just enough pills to put you into a nice, deep sleep. Understand?
Yes, I understand.
Now, I'll be right back, sweetheart. I'll just run downstairs and mail this, huh?
All right, Davy, but hurry back. I don't want to be alone. What time is it, Davy?
9:15.
Do you think Mother got the letter this morning?
Well, you never know with the post office these days. But it could happen.
Even if the letter gets there, she might not be home. She might have left the house early.
Doesn't matter, Bonnie. Sooner or later, she'll see it.
Well, I just don't think it's going to work, Davy.
There. That must be her.
Do you think it is, really?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I don't know anybody who'd call me this early in the morning.
Well, how about the people at your office?
No. I'm away on a 2-week honeymoon, remember? They don't even know I'm in town.
Davy, shouldn't you answer it?
No, kitten, no. Don't you understand? She's got to get worried enough to do something. And you've got something to do, too.
You mean take those pills.
That's right, Bonnie. Hey, you see? She stopped calling. She's probably on her way over here right now. Get the pills, Bonnie.
Yes, I have them right here. There are only 3 of them.
Okay, get you a glass of water.
All right. Davy, you're sure it'll be all right?
I'm sure, Bonnie. It takes like a dozen of these things to hurt you. You just take a couple. Yeah, no, you better make it all 3, just to make sure you're fast asleep when your mother gets here.
She's only about half an hour away.
Well, that's time enough if you take them now.
Yeah, all right.
You can trust me, Bonnie. You know that. I won't let anything happen to you.
Yeah, I know that. I know that, Davy.
Okay, now come on, take the pills, sweetheart.
Yes.
There. That wasn't so hard, was it?
No.
Now all you have to do is go back to bed. Go to bed and to sleep.
That won't be so hard either. Even without the pills, I slept so badly last night.
Yeah, I know.
Davy?
Yes, kitten?
Please kiss me. Kiss me. Good night.
1 second. Oh, Mrs. Daniels.
Where is she? Where's Bonnie?
Well, not to take it easy. She's sleeping.
Is she all right?
Well, what are you talking about? Of course she's all right. She's just asleep. She likes to sleep a little late in the morning, that's all.
Bonnie? Bonnie?
Hey, now, what do you think you're doing, Mrs. Daniels? Let her sleep, would you? She's had a bad night.
Look at her color. Look at her. Can't you see this isn't normal?
Well, she's always a little pale. So what?
Bonnie, can you hear me? It's Mother. Oh, dear God.
Hey, what's the matter with you?
You idiot. Where were you? I phoned here about an hour ago. The phone just rang and rang.
I was out. I went out to get the paper. I just got back a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, Bonnie, darling. Wake up. Wake up. Oh, why didn't I call somebody? Why didn't I call a doctor?
A doctor? What for?
Here. Read this.
Well, what is it?
Where's your telephone? Where is it?
Good Lord, this letter is...
We need a doctor, you idiot. Bonnie may be... Oh, no.
Mrs. Daniels.
She's dead. She's dead.
Oh, she can't be. She's just sleeping, Mrs. Daniels.
She took the pills. All those pills.
There weren't that many in that bottle. Maybe she'll be okay. I'll get the doctor.
It's too late. Too late.
I'm not dead, I tell you. Bonnie, wake up, kitten. Wake up. It's all right. Everything's all right. Bonnie, for Pete's sake, it's all over now. You've got to wake up. Oh, she's so cold. Bonnie, wake up.
Leave her alone. Can't you leave that poor girl alone, even now?
Mrs. Daniels, I swear there weren't many pills in that bottle.
It wouldn't have taken many. Not with Bonnie's heart. It wouldn't take us... Well, it wouldn't take many.
What are you talking about?
Bonnie had rheumatic fever when she was 12. Her heart's been weak ever since.
No. Bonnie, please. Please. You've got to wake up. Hello?
Mr. Snowden?
Yes.
Walter Hedinger. You, remember me, I trust?
Yes, I remember you.
Sorry to disturb you. I realize that you're still in, mourning, of course.
What do you want?
I was wondering if you might be able to attend a meeting at our offices at, 10:30 tomorrow.
A meeting? What for?
It concerns your wife's estate.
Now, what are you talking about? I've got nothing to do with my wife's estate, and you know it. Bonnie wasn't dead 2 weeks, and I got a letter from you telling me so.
Well, there is still something that Mrs. Daniels wishes to discuss with you. Something, beyond the, shall I say, legality of the situation.
Look, if Mrs. Daniels thinks she can make some kind of trouble for me...
No. It's nothing of the kind.
Don't try to kid me. She still blames me for Bonnie's death. She'd do anything she could to hurt me.
I assure you, Mr. Snowden, it's to your advantage to attend the meeting tomorrow.
My advantage?
That's correct. Because I can promise you one thing. Mrs. Daniels wants to do the right thing.
Please come in, Mr. Snowden.
Yes. How are you, Mrs. Daniels?
I'm as well as I can be, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Don't look stricken, young man. Nobody's going to hurt you. Have a chair.
Thank you.
Well, let's get started, shall we? Mrs. Daniels, as you know, we've already informed Mr. Snowden that he has no legal claims on your daughter's estate.
Yeah, I know all about that.
Did you explain why? You see, Bonnie's inheritance from my late husband wasn't due until she reached the age of 21. Since her death, it automatically reverts to me.
I didn't expect anything, Mrs. Daniels.
Very kind of you, I'm sure. However, Mr. Snowden, the fact that you did marry Bonnie imposes a certain kind of obligation on me. Some kind of gesture regarding your welfare.
I don't understand.
Mr. Snowden, you seemed most impressed by that old house we own upstate. You recall the one I mean?
Yes, of course.
It was once valued at a great deal of money. And it's yours.
What was that?
I'm deeding you the property. It would have been Bonnie's in a few more years. I have no further use for it. You may have complete possession of the land, the house, and everything in it.
Everything? You really mean everything?
Of course. Mr. Hedinger will see to the formalities. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go.
What? Gee, Mrs. Daniels,
Please don't thank me. I can stand anything from you now except gratitude. Good day.
Well, let's take care of the details.
Mr. Hedinger, could I ask just one question?
Yes?
When Mrs. Daniels said I could have everything in that house, well, there are certain places, locked rooms and things like that. Am I entitled to all of the contents?
You're entitled to every stick in the place, Mr. Snowden. In fact, Mrs. Daniels left you this full set of keys.
Oh, look at it. Look at it. It's all mine. The whole house. Mine. God knows how much it's worth. Yeah, sure, it's run down, but the furniture alone. Where's that light switch? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, what did Bonnie call it? A terrible old barn. Yeah, but it's all mine, sweetheart. It's Davy's barn now. Maybe it's not $1 million, but it's something. Where are the rest of those keys? A dozen keys, but one of them must open that door. Yeah, one of them will do it, so let's just get going, Davy boy. It was really something, her giving me this house. Noblesse oblige, I guess. I gotta give the lady credit. She's got class. Let's see. It wasn't this floor. No, it was the next. There's got to be a very good reason for locking up a room. There's got to be something very valuable inside. Yeah, that's the door. That's the one. Okay, now to find the key. No, not that one. This is... No, it's obviously too small. How about this one? No, that didn't do it. This one's too big. No, not yet. I hope it's here. The lawyer said they were all here. I'll try this one. Well, it slipped in all right, but will it turn? Wait a minute. It's stuck, but I think it's going to do it. I think it's going to work. That did it. That did it. The lock's open. All I got to do is open the door. It's pretty dark in there. shades are down. Uh-huh, but I see a lamp over there.
Some more sherry, Walter?
No, thank you, Mrs. Daniels.
Oh, stop looking so grim, Walter. Sit back and relax.
Mrs. Daniels, I can't help but worry about what happened.
Worry? About that scoundrel?
You know what I mean. When that police lieutenant questioned me about Snowden's death, well, I didn't actually lie to him, but I didn't tell him the whole truth either.
You were completely honest, Walter. I'm sure you were.
No, I wasn't. You see, I'm absolutely sure you knew what you were doing when you deeded that house to him.
Of course I knew what I was doing. I was being generous.
But you knew what would happen, didn't you?
Yes, Walter, I knew. I knew there was no treasure behind that door. Only the rotten floorboards that made us shut up the room 15 years ago. I used to argue with my husband about it. I used to say that we should have the floor repaired before someone fell through to the basement. But he was a strangely miserly man sometimes. Not nearly as generous as I am. Now drink your sherry, Walter.
Well, what can you say about an 18-year-old girl who dies? Or her 30-year-old lover, for that matter? Regretfully, this love story has ended with both the lovers gone, which ought to make it twice as popular as the movie. I'll be back shortly. David Snowden isn't the last victim you'll hear about on our Radio Mystery Theater. We intend to bring you the final dying screams of many, many more. That's a specialty of radio, of course, which explains why we give all our actors scream tests. Our cast included Carmen Matthews, Corinne Orr, Jack Grimes, and Sidney Smith. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
I know I'm no sort of expert, but can't you talk about your work with me?
There's a reason for it, Lisa. There's a reason.
Well, what?
I told you, my nightmares, they're all visions in black and gray and slashes of red.
Well, then if you won't talk about your paintings, why not tell me about your nightmares?
You wouldn't enjoy hearing about them. Or rather, about it.
It?
I have only one nightmare. Just one. I have it virtually every night. Sometimes it follows me into the daylight. I can close my eyes, and there it is. For years, I've tried to destroy it by painting it. Not its details, just its colors. But the therapy hasn't worked.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.